Hey, shalom, 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 Israel. I believe we are live.
We are
All
most
praises to the
definitely
Most High.
live.
We live? Hey,
Con.
we live, baby. We live. All praises, all praises. Con. All praises to the Most High. Hey, we are Yahawah's camp. All right, first and foremost, as always, we want to give all praises, all glory, and all honor to Yahweh. And we do so in the name of his only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahushai, all right, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Again, we are Yahweh's camp. We are in North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina. We do got a Yahweh's camp in DC, so shalom to y'all brothers out in DC. Definitely want to say shalom to the nation of Israel, mighty shalom to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. Shalom to the elders of our camp, to the elders of the camps. Shalom to all the camps that's on the highways and byways that's pushing this truth and sincerity and dedication and efficiency. Shalom to y'all brothers. And we also say happy Passover to the nation of Israel as well, as we are in the week of unleavened bread. We just had a beautiful Passover last night. Shalom to the other camps that had their Passovers, that's doing their Passovers. Shalom to y'all brothers and sisters. Keep doing this work and keep enduring in this truth. Again, we just had a Passover. We just, of course, kicked in unleavened bread. So about a good week, we're going to go through this week and eat unleavened bread. All right. I'm Captain Ma'am of Yahweh's camp. And we're going to go around the panel as we got the same brothers, the same faces, but with new ranks and new promotions. So we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to hand it over to the new captain of the crew, Shalom King. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, shalom, Israel. Like the captain said, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Yahweh Shah. This your brother Yahshua Ben Yahweh.
Khan, the new captain, by the way, new captain of the crew. Brother earned it, man. All praises to the Most High. All right, all praises. Go ahead to Officer Ephraim. Go ahead and let him know.
Shalom, Israel. Hey, all praise to the Most High. Like the cap said, we had a beautiful Passover yesterday. We enjoyed it in the spirit, and Lord willing, the Lord continues to work with us. Congratulations to all the all the brothers that made rank, and hey, this is your brother Mahal.
Shalom. All right, and we got Officer Shapar. Go ahead and introduce yourself. A new officer, brand new. All praises, congrats too, King.
Hey, Tawada. Hey, man, all praise to the Most High. Shalom to the nation of Israel, our people scattered abroad. This is your brother, Officer Shapar.
And last but not least, all right, my beloved brother, Officer Kazat from the tribe of Judah. Go ahead and introduce yourself out.
Hey, shalom, Israel. All praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. This is your brother, new officer Kazak.
Khan. And shalom, and again, congrats to all the new officers in Yahweh's camp. And just wanted to say again, couldn't stress it enough. Brothers was out there earning they ranks, man. So to be able to get some sort of a congratulatory acknowledgement is always good. It keeps that fire going, man. And honestly, like I told the brothers last night, the work really begins. Want to congratulate our brothers, man, that made rank. And again, shalom and mighty shalom to the priest, to the elder of Yahweh's camp, to again all the men out there that's doing this work and leading righteous men and families, man. In these times, man, these times are getting crazy. So we saw so fit as a camp to come out and bring in this Revelation 20, and understanding on that. So tonight, we're going to go into the book of Revelation chapter 20. Of course, at these end times with these things that's coming up, you got to just be circumspect and always, be on the have that mindset of end times, of prophecy, being able to maneuver with families and brothers and sisters to be able to, understand what moves to make and what moves not to make in these times. So real quick, I want to get a few announcements before we get started. Of course, we're in unleavened bread, so we got about a week's worth where we're gonna just, of course, just eat our unleavened bread. You must eat unleavened bread, Israel. All right. I know some people want to watch their carbs. You're trying to get that summer body together. Hey, the Lord said 7 days you must eat unleavened bread, and during that 7 days you shouldn't have any bread with leaven or any leavening agents in your homes. All right. So that's 1 week of eating unleavened bread. All right, no leavened bread found in your homes. If you have a question on what leavening is, of course, leavening agents are things that make things rise. Officer Mahar, are you able to pull that at least a list up? And as he's pulling it up, you can always Google these items. I believe, like baking soda, flour, has yeast in it, any beer, baking soda, things like that. Salakia. Let me drink some
Yeah,
water.
I could pull up the list right here, but this is kind of a crazy list. Like, we don't know where any of these lists really come from.
Yeah.
In all honesty, you really have to, do your research on what kind of things do have leavening. You want to stay away from your baking sodas. You want to stay away from your baking powder, anything with baking powder, anything with what's the other one? Sodium. Let me pull up this other one. Sodium bicarbonate. That's just another word for baking soda, right? Ammonium hydrocarbonate. Anything with carbonate in it, because carbonate is they're adding air to whatever, or leavening to whatever agent it is that's being used.
Con. So yeah, just take a screenshot of it. I mean, we're not going to go through the list, but again, you can Google it. You can reach out if you have any serious questions about it. Again, we just rehearsing the righteous acts, but at the same time, we want to get it right, Israel, as we are going to be that light to our brothers and sisters. So, of course, we're going to practice until we make perfect. All praises. So yeah, again, we are in unleavened. I mean, we're in unleavened bread. We're going to have a closeout. I believe it's April 29th at even. We'll post it on our Facebooks and YouTubes to just make sure that we got the dates right. But yeah, I believe it'll be the evening of April 29th. We're going to have the unleavened bread closeout. As the priests and the elders always say, you want to complete this whole week. You don't want to start off just eat the lamb and eat the bitter herb and have your garments on and take pictures. You got to complete the whole week. And that's the whole reason on that 7, right? That beautiful number 7 means completion. All right. So that's that. All right. We're also going to be in DC. All right. May 18th for again our camp in DC. We're going to be out there May 18th in front of the White House. So if you're able to come out, please come out, support. Bring your Bibles and be ready to go out and have a good time learning the words of the Most High with your brothers from Raleigh as we get together with the sons of David out there to ultimately teach in front of the White House. What better way than to teach in front of the capital of Babylon, which is the so-called White House. So May 18th, be on the lookout for that. And then, of course, First Fruits is coming up, I believe, June 14th. We'll have First Fruits, also called Pentecost. So you got those main 3 events coming up. So just mark those on your calendars as we go into this, into the rest of this new year. All praises. So, all right, without further ado, brothers want to say something before we get started?
Hey, it's always a blessing when you can call the devil to his face.
God.
God.
Oh, praises. That's right. We did it. We taught last time we was in DC. We taught, and the president came out in the middle of us teaching. Man, it was beautiful to hear those words, and he had to hear it. So, like the officer said, man, it was all praises to be able to see that and to be able to be there for that. So, come. Anybody else before we get started? All right, all right, all praises. So again, the topic for tonight. All right, topic for tonight is Revelation 20. We're going to go in and do a comb through on this beautiful chapter. It's only 15 verses, but a lot of information, in there. A lot of understanding has to be unraveled. Right. This word is like a couple onion layers, man. You got to keep rolling those layers back, and that's what separates us ultimately from the Christian church and from the Catholic Church and any religion is no one studies this word as diligently as we do, right? When you talk about exegeting scriptures, when you're talking about, we talk about just, biblical hermeneutics and being able to, break down scriptures and precept upon precept, line upon line. Matter of fact, Officer Kazak, can you get that for me, the precept upon precept? I believe that's Isaiah 28.
That's crazy. That's the spirit, Cap. I literally was turning to that as you were saying that.
Con.
All praises.
Yeah, so when we go into the scriptures and Revelation, we were saying earlier the book of Revelation, which is a heavy book, and this is part of the reason why your Christian churches and your Catholic churches, they don't go into Daniel, they don't go into Revelation. You ask a normal Christian, have you ever read the book of Habakkuk or Hosea, right? Or Joel, any of these scriptures with prophecies in it? The Christian church avoids them like the plague, right? They avoid them like the plague. Why? Because they're not fit to teach this word. So they just give you Paul's words. They'll quote YAHAWAH'S, right? They may have a scripture around Proverbs about, something about working hard to get your blessing, but they're not giving you biblical sound prophecy because they don't use the precepts. All right. So, go ahead and bring that out when you got it, King.
Cap, you want me to start at 9 or just jump to the point?
No, go ahead and start at 9.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 28 and verse 9.
Mm-hmm.
It says, whom shall he teach knowledge?
Mm-hmm.
And whom shall he make to understand doctrine?
Right. So let's just stop right there. It's beautiful you started at 9, because to teach knowledge has to have someone who studied this law, that studied what knowledge is. You can only do so much, but if you're not in a position, right, to carefully divide the word and divide the truth, you're just going to be a Christian pastor that's just reading, pass the plate around, and let me just go about my day. But read it again. It said, to whom shall he teach knowledge? The key word in there is teach. This is why we were ordained to come out here and teach this word. It's not enough just to read the words, but you have to break the words down and then make it palatable for your audience, right? For your guests. Can they understand what you're saying? Or are you just putting out word salad, right? Put a couple big words, wrap it around with some animation, exclamation points. Yeah, your views are going to get high, but what is your knowledge? What are you saying, right? So read it again, King.
Isaiah 28 and 9 says, whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine?
To understand doctrine, right? This is why we have the true doctrine, because we teach it through and through. We go to 80 books. We go to historical sources, biblical, right? We go to extra biblical sources, right? We're going to go into Babylon Timbuktu. We're going to go into all these things tonight to show that we just don't limit ourselves when it teaches doctrine. We're going to expand our mind to a wider, broader view, right? Go ahead, King.
And whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breasts.
Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. That means over time, you got to start building up, right? You got to start building up, and you got to start chewing the meat. You can't survive off milk for your whole life. For you to grow, you're going to have some kind of protein, right? You're going to have to be able to grow, right? To properly grow, to be nourished, you're going to have the things that meat offers. The marrow, right? The protein, the fiber, all that, right? That comes from the meat. You can't just drink milk and expect to grow. Go ahead, King.
Verse 10.
Uh-huh.
For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little.
You see that? So precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. This is why it's important. When we go into this Revelation 20 breakdown, we're going to go through precepts, right? We're going to go through biblical prophecies. We're going to go through the wisdoms. We're going into second address. We're going into the scriptures. You can't just read it like a novel, right? We're going to read this thing as it is supposed to be digested, all right? So when we go into Revelation 20, the reason why I chose this chapter, and really I wanted to go into Revelation 20, is because if you haven't been, keeping up with the times, right, then you got to understand a lot of stuff is happening around the world. Geopolitically speaking, right? You got Iran and Israel, right? They just hopped right into war, right? This is after Israel and Hamas. They say Hamas, but it's really what? Palestine, right? You're looking at Iran and Israel and Palestine, Israel and Turkey by proxy. All these different nations are getting in. China versus U.S. Did anybody see today where a representative of America, right, of the U.S. went to China to warn against being in allegiance with Russia? I think his name is Anthony Blinken. He has a high-ranking position with America, with Babylon, right? This heathen has a high-ranking job to go to different parts of the world and pretty much threaten the other nations with America's power, right? Which is by what? Thermonuclear fire. So, this guy, and, they go over there and then they give money to Taiwan. And if people aren't understanding what Taiwan and China, the relationship they have, ultimately, this is for America to put some sort of a big gun pointed at China. And so they need the island of Taiwan to do so, right? The big gun is that nuke, right? So if you put a nuke right there on Taiwan's island, pointed right at China, that's going to keep China in order, right? So it's not really about liberating the other small countries. Same thing with Russia and Ukraine, right? America is in bed with Ukraine because they want that big gun pointed where? At Russia. And of course, Putin, he's trying to unify his countrymen. Ukrainians are Russians, right? Shalom. Ukrainians they're the same people, right? But so they're so that whole deal is coming in. And I predict, this is just me saying, I predict by the end of this year, you're going to see China and Taiwan at it. China's trying to unify those strip of islands going into the Pacific. All right, somebody give me the book of real quick. Somebody give me Revelation 19 and 10. So why is prophecy important? I thought about that, right? You can always go into keeping the commandments. You can always say keep the laws and all that beautiful stuff, which is right. But we got to keep the spirit of Christ on us. And we got to be able to say, I need to have my mind occupied in prophecy, some way, shape, form, or fashion. You got to be circumspect on what's going on, especially now, right? Ephraim, can you get me a Strong's number real quick? I want to get the Strong's number 5012 in the Hebrew, H 5012 5012. And who's got that? Revelation 19 and 10.
I can read it, Cap.
Come on, bring it out, King.
It's the book of Revelations, chapter 19 and verse 10.
Uh-huh.
And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant, and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahawah.
Mm-hmm.
Worship the Most High, for the testimony of Yahawah is the spirit of prophecy.
Right, right, exactly. So the testimony to be a real testimony of Yahawashi, Yahawashi before he died, he gave you signs. He gave you things to understand, okay, what times we're in at these end days. We at the end times, man. We at the last quarter, right? It might not even be a minute left. The doomsday clock then got as close as possible. You seeing prophecies on TV every time you turn your news chase stations on, right? You seeing what's going on in the world. Just go leave the house. You see how the world is waxing worse and worse. We at the end of this thing, right? And through the spirit, most high willing, we'll be able to see the end of this thing all the way through. Right? But it says for the testimony of Yahawashi is the spirit of prophecy. This is why it's important for us to prophesy, right? Let's get that Strong's number real quick, King.
God.
Strong's H 5012. Nava. Nava.
Mm-hmm.
And it means to prophesy, prophesy under the influence of divine spirit,
Uh-huh.
false prophets. It means to speak, to prophesy by inspiration, in prediction, or simple discourse.
So look
Making
at that word. Oh, Salaki, go ahead, finish that out.
no, I was just gonna say, make self a prophet.
But look at that word in that Strong's definition. It says inspiration, right? Speak or sing by inspiration. So when we go into these prophecies, right? And when you see these things going around, that gives you inspiration. We're inspired, right? When we see these things pop off. When you see, men getting assassinated and the whole world is mourning. Meanwhile, the Israelites were inspired, right? When you see drones shooting and blowing up this and that, and you see these nations coming in allegiance against these other nations, Yahawashi said there'll be wars and rumors of war, and there'll be earthquakes in diverse places. This is inspirational to the Israelite. To be an Israelite in 2024, we're different and we're against the ways of America, even down to how we think politically. When everyone else is seeing, the world burn before them, we're inspired as Israelites because we see these prophecies unfolding. And that's the spirit of Hamashiach. That's the testimony of Yahawashi, right? Kazak, can you get Sirach 39:1? All right. I just want everybody to understand why this is important. Okay, bring it out when you got it, King.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 39, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
It says, "But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient."
So if we occupy ourselves in the law, statutes, and commandments, right? And then meditate, right? That's like Psalms 1 and 2 says to meditate on the law day and night. We don't have time to be worried about what this rap beef is about. This guy beefing with this guy. These are all distractions to keep your mind off the meditation of the law. He that has ears is going to hear that, right? The NBA playoffs. Sports is nothing but a big distraction. Yeah, it's okay to watch it every now and again, but if it's taking your mind off the meditation of the Most High, if you ride in your car and you're thinking about who's the greatest, football player of all time, and you're not meditating on the signs in the world, then it's taking you from this. It's distracting you. Right? Come on. And then it says to seek out the wisdom of all the ancient. I just wanted to bring that out too, because the wisdom that King David said in Psalms 1 and 2 was what? To meditate on the law, statutes, and commandments. You're going to be still by water, by tree by water, if you meditate on the commandments. Unmovable, unshakable. All right? So you got to think about these things that our forefathers written down for our behalf today, right? Read on, King.
Khan will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient,
Mm-hmm.
and be occupied in prophecies.
And you're occupied really in prophecies. I don't care about what this person did or what song is, how many albums this, no, that's cool and all, but we occupied in these prophecies,
Hey,
right?
so real
Go ahead,
quick.
King.
So, everybody's occupied right now in what? The current rap beef, right? Chris Brown both versus Quavo, Quavo versus Chris Brown. All the female rappers are beefing now as well. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, con. And these are distractors. They're made to keep you occupied in the world. And that puts a spirit on our people. Right? I was hearing a brother say this before, how music is literally a spirit, or it gets you into a different spirit. Before you play a game, you listen to some hip hop, right? You listen to some rap before you getting ready to go play a football game or a basketball game. If you're getting ready to go on a date, with your lady, you playing something smooth. It gets you into a different vibration, a different spirit. So this rap beef, right, which we seen in time, if you 30 and over, you remember what happened with some of these rappers like Tupac, Biggie, and not just they died, but their buddies died, right? Some of their entourage died because of these rap beefs. It's not worth it. We're supposed to be occupied in prophecy, especially in these last days, man. Right? So read on, King.
God. Verse 2.
Uh-huh.
He will keep the sayings of the renowned men, and where subtle parables are, he will be there also.
And those subtle parables, right? Those things that not everybody was supposed to get, you're gonna be right there. Yep, I got that breakdown. I'm hungry for that. I got that breakdown too. Yeah, this is how I look at it. This is how you look at it. Oh, let's talk about it. That's how the men of the Lord was operating back then. They wasn't worried about the gladiator games that Caesar had. They was breaking down Revelation. They was breaking down, Daniel. They was breaking down Ezekiel 38 and all these other prophecies, right? All right, let's get verse 3.
God. Verse 3.
Uh-huh.
He will seek out the secrets of grave sentences and be conversant in dark parables.
You ever know somebody, you ever talk to people and you know immediately that they don't know what they're talking about, but they act like they know what they're talking about? Like they put themselves in that conversation, and then you could like I don't understand golf, right? So I got this guy that I know, and he talks about golf. And for the life of me, man, I be trying to have a cup, but I be like, nah, I can't even go far in that conversation with you because I'm not. What's the word that it just said? It was conversant. You can carry a conversation about certain topics. Well, that's the same thing with us. We got to be conversant in some of these speeches and some of these dark sayings, which is what? The mysteries of the Most High, the mysteries of these prophecies. Right? And we're going to go into that, man, and why that's important. All right. So where we at? Verse 4.
God. Verse 4.
Mm-hmm.
It says, he shall serve among great men.
And you got brothers right now that's in camps under some great men, right? All over, the camps all over, under some great men. Come on.
And appear before princes.
Yeah. You may end up teaching in front of the White House. And one of these Secretary of States or some of these high-ranking officials, congressmen may ride by and hear what you got to say. Right? You're gonna appear before the princes of the world. Read on.
He will travel through strange countries.
And brothers traveling to go teach, right? Hopping in the car, riding down to Fort Lauderdale, hopping in the car, going up to, Delaware, right? Just traveling to teach. Come on.
For he hath tried the good and the evil among men.
You see that? And that's what we out here doing. We're trying the good and the evil before men by teaching in the words of the Most High. Are you going to take this understanding or not? All right. Everybody understand?
Con.
All praises. I'm going to get one more. Let me get Sirach 44 and verse 1. Is that what I want?
Yeah,
Salakia. No, you can drop. You could drop that. Salaki. Kazak, can you get 2 Peter chapter 1? So yeah, drop the Sirach 44. Let's get 2 Peter chapter 1 and give me verse 19. Now, I just want to establish where we're going is why prophecies are important. Right? Why are these prophecies important? Why is it important to if I know what's coming around the corner? I used to always think, if I could see the future, I would be that much better than everybody, right? So I'd be like, man, I would probably go back and bet on, some of these football games that's gonna make me money if I could see the future, if I can go back in time. Or remember that movie Back to the Future. But then when you start to mature in this truth, you realize, man, if I can find a way to understand, when that sky gonna crack. Yahushua said, no man know. But just to think about that and be like, man, that'd be cool to know when things gonna happen. But of course, you'll be ready. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, right? If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. So that's why it's important for us to teach these prophecies, to not only inspire our people, right? We must inspire our people. That word nabah goes into the word inspiration. And when we go into these prophecies, hopefully, our people will be inspired just a little bit more and keeps you endured just a little bit longer. All right. So go ahead and bring it out. First, Salak, 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 19.
Come. It's the book of 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 19. It says, we have also a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto ye do well that ye take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place.
Come, real quick. Let's just think about that, right? We talk about inspiration. If my light, if I'm able to shine light in a dark place for someone that's in darkness, that gives them a sense of inspiration, right? They're drawn to that light. And us being able to go on the streets and break down prophecies, it's gonna be a time, man, and it's coming, where people gonna be asking us, some of these prophecies that they want to ask, and they're gonna ask and ask the brothers on the street corners, right? What's gonna happen tomorrow? They're gonna stop asking their pastors at the churches. The pastor gonna be asking you. I honestly believe pastors be watching Israelite videos.
Come.
Right? I believe these pastors sit back and they watch these GMS, or they may watch, IUIC or whatever. They may watch brothers' videos. Hell, they may be watching our videos through the spirit. As long as they get it, we're not hating, but just give credit where credit is due and tell everybody to come back to the commandments of God. That's all we ask the pastors to do, right? So we're going to be that light shining in a dark place. Read on, King.
Until the day dawn,
Uh-huh.
and the day star arise in your hearts.
Right, and that day star, us being able to give that light. We're going to give that light to the 2/3. We're supposed to be giving that light to our brothers and sisters. Right, verse 20.
Come, verse 20.
Uh-huh.
Knowing this first, that no prophecy of the scripture is of any private interpretation.
And one thing, this is why we started off with precept must be upon precept. I'm not going to read you a precept. I'm not going to read you a scripture in Revelation 20 and not give a precept or a supporting document that's reliable to substantiate that. We're not going to give you our own vain words and our own interpretations here. We don't do that at YAHAWAH'S camp. YAHAWAH'S camp is going to go, thus saith the Lord. Hell, we got the name of the Lord on our camp name. So we definitely going to make sure that our people get this word and truth and in sincerity. Right? Knowing this first, that no prophecy of the scripture is of any private interpretation. Read on, King.
Come, verse 21. It says, for the prophecy came not in old time by the will of man.
It didn't come by what?
By the will of man.
It didn't come by the will of man. Our forefathers didn't say, thus saith Jeremiah in the second year of this king. It didn't say that. It said, thus saith the Lord, thus saith Yahweh. For the prophecy came not in old time by the will of man. All we're doing It's just saying what the scriptures say. Come on, King.
But holy men of the Most High spake as they were moved by the Holy Spirit.
Come. And we know that these were holy men because the Holy Spirit is only going to dwell with brothers that keep the law, statutes, and commandments. All right? And you can find that all through the scriptures. Psalm 51, King David said, what? Take not thy Holy Spirit from me. When you go to Acts, I believe the 5th chapter, it also talks about being obedient to God gives you access to the Holy Spirit. Right? So I just wanted to just get that out and let people understand why we're doing what we're doing. Right? So real quick, let's go over to Revelation 20. Let's go right into it through the Spirit. All right? We're going to start off at the top. Revelation 20 and 1. Shapar, you mind reading for us, Baba Kashab? All right. So real quick, when you go into the word revelation, right, we talk about the word revealing, being able to reveal some of these things. A lot of times, you might not get some of these full prophecies unless you go and get the revelation or the revealing of what we're talking about. All right. So I was telling the brothers earlier, throughout this book, you're going to have sometimes, book chapters and verses, they're not always meant to be, read in chronological order. What do I mean by that? When I read the book of the Judges, right, it's going to move in sequential order. When I go into, the Kings or the Chronicles, Samuel, right, it's going to go in a chronological sequential order. The book of Ruth, the same thing. And us in the wilderness, right? When you read your Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and you read about us in the wilderness, you're knowing you're moving forward. Revelation's not so, right? Revelation, you'll jump around. Sometimes you may come here, you may come back here. You may show up in Revelation 7, and that may go over to Revelation 11, right? Things like that. So you got to have a spiritual eye, and you got to have the precepts to circumnavigate this book. I'm gonna say it again. You gotta have the precepts, and it may, make sense to just take your time and maybe learn from brothers on how to dice up and read Revelation. All right, that's why we gotta have elders, right? Real quick, I just want to say this real quick. Sirach 44 and 1, speaking of the elders, it says, "Let us now praise famous men, and our fathers that beget us. The Most High have wrought great glory by them, through his great power from the beginning, such as did bear rule in their kingdoms, men renowned for their power, giving counsel by their understanding and declaring prophecies." So understanding that to have elders, right, to have older men that's seasoned in this truth, is a valuable piece as you grow and as you mature. All right. And we're lucky enough to have a few elders and that's very, knowledgeable on these scriptures, right? And it's our job, man, to pick that brain and to soak up as much knowledge. So I just want to bring that out because when we go into these scriptures, one day we're gonna be those men, right? If we still here, Lord willing, we're gonna be giving the young men the understanding on how to break down Revelation chapter 20. All right. So like I said, it may skip it between other locations in the book, right? One example would be like a Revelation 11:15. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and read Revelation 20, Shapar. And real quick, I also want to say, Kazak, can you get that in Revelation 11:15? Let's get Revelation 11:15. Shapar, read what you got, King.
Khan, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 20 and verse 1, and it reads, "And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand."
Khan, so let's stop right there, right? So we see an angel coming out of heaven, having the key to the bottomless pit. When you go into that bottomless pit, the understanding is what you would look at as a wasteland. Right, a wasteland, a place where there's no real produce, nothing real substantial, no minerals, right? No, what you would say, like stones, gold, jewels, something like that. This is a bottomless pit, right? When you look at pit, you're looking at something synonymous with death or hell or destruction or destroyed, or like we said, waste, right? So it says it had a great chain in his hand. Now that chain, when you go into that chain, it's the understanding of being captive, right? So an angel coming out of heaven, having the key to the bottomless pit, all right, death, right? Nothing flourishes there, right? No vegetation. I heard brothers that say this is Europe. So for the sake of the argument, let's take the position of this bottomless pit being that European land, right? Read Revelation 12 and 2.
You want 12 or 2 or 20 and 2?
Salaki, Revelation 20 and 2. My bad.
Book of Revelations, chapter 20, verse 2. And
Uh-huh.
it reads, and he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years.
Let's stop right there. So devil, what does the word devil represent? A deceiver, right? Devil is a deceiver, and Satan can be your adversary or your enemy. All right. Devil represents deceiver, and Satan is the adversary or the enemy. All right. So this angel, right, came out of heaven having the key of the bottomless pit, meaning he had control. Having the key means you control the bottomless pit. Who goes in, who comes out, what goes on there, things like that, right? And he laid hold on the dragon. The dragon is Esau. We're going to prove that. We're going to prove that that dragon is your friendly neighborhood Edomite. All right, let's get Revelation 12 and 3. All right, let's get Revelation 12 and 3. And then Kazak. Who else we got on here? I know we got brothers that can't see at the bottom.
We got Shapar, we got Kazak, we got Yashuan, we got Shalak, the new officer. Hey, Shalom,
Shalom, Officer Shalak.
And Dawad.
And Dawad, Shalom, King. Yahabashim Shabarakatah. All right, Khan, we got more brothers so we can get more.
Salaki, and I was gonna say, if you need me to bring out something, I can read.
Come. All right, hey, Kat, can you bring out Isaiah 27 and 2? Isaiah 27 and 2. All right.
Hey, Salakia, but I won't be able to read. I'll just be in the background. I'm on plantation right now.
Come. Okay, yeah, just listen up. Shalom, King. Kazak, can you get that Revelation 12 and 3? All right, so Shapar, read Revelation 20 and 2 one more time, King.
The book of Revelation, chapter 20 and verse 2. And he laid hold on the dragon.
So this angel, the angel lays hold on the dragon. Come on.
That old serpent.
The what?
That old serpent.
The old serpent, right? That old serpent. Come on.
Which is the devil.
So the serpent is a deceiver, right? The serpent is a deceiver. Going back to the Garden of Eden, right? That serpent deceived Eve and Adam, right? Come on.
And Satan.
And Satan also was the enemy. So a deceiver and an enemy. Come on.
And bound him 1,000 years.
So this enemy, right? Let's put these things together like a puzzle. This enemy was also a deceiver, was bound in this bottomless pit for 1,000 years, right? And again, we're going to take the position that this bottomless pit has to be a location. Anybody understand where we say you have a time between, I want to say about 3000 AD, 300 AD to about 1492, 370. I have a book here I'm going to go into. It says about a little later than that, but around the 300 to 400s AD going up to 1492 AD. The so-called white man, right? The so-called white man lost his dominion, his rule from the Western Empire of the Roman Empire. And then the Eastern Empire of Rome began to decay. So for about 1,000 years, or we would say the Dark Ages, the Moors or Moorish people. When I say Moorish people, Moor really just means dark-skinned people were running Europe. Okay, so we're just going to put this together and come up with a common denominator that this bottomless pit would be Europe, right? And for 1,000 years, so-called Negroes were controlling the land for 1,000 years. So now we're going to find out who this dragon or this serpent is. All right, let's get Revelation 12 and 3. Slaki, let's start at the top. Start at the top.
Con. It's the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
It says, "And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars."
So this woman is Israel. All right, this woman is Israel. She represents Israel. Remember, when you go to Galatians, it says Jerusalem is the mother of us all. So it's not the first time that Israel is likened to a woman. They even remember Yahawashi calls us his bride, right? So it's not nothing to be tripping over, right? That this woman is Israel. We all understand that. Verse 2.
Verse 2. "And she being with child cried, travailing in birth, and pained to be delivered."
Uh-huh.
Verse 3. "And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon."
What color was the dragon?
A great red dragon.
And it was great in stature, right? This is what you would call the Herodians, the Edomites, the so-called white man, right? These Herods were Edomites, right? Posing as Israelites. Remember, Herod wanted to kill Yahawashi from birth, right? This is the enemy, right? This great red dragon is the man Esau. All right. Read.
"And behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads."
That's it right there, right? So
Con.
understand that that great red dragon, right, with those 7 crowns and 10 horns is who you would call Esau, right? Or the kingdom of the Edomite, or the kingdom of the so-called white man. All right, get that in Isaiah 27 and 2. Get Isaiah, let me get there with you real quick. And then let's also get Daniel 7. Let me see. Hold on 1 second. Let me get there real quick. Who's getting that, Isaiah? Who got that?
I got it.
Con. Get that. Start at 1. Salakia.
Con, this Isaiah 27 and 1.
Uh-huh.
And that day the Lord with his sword and great strong sword shall punish Leviathan.
The punish who?
Leviathan.
Leviathan, right? Leviathan is a serpent, right? A serpent. There's a couple of ways you can understand Leviathan. Leviathan being actual creature, but Leviathan can also represent Esau, right? I recommend reading Job, the 41st chapter. And when you go to Job 41, it talks about his scales being impenetrable, right? And his teeth as iron. And it describes the actual rule that the white man has and how fiercely he is, right? So that serpent, or that snake, right? That creature, Leviathan, represents Esau. All right, go ahead.
The piercing serpent, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent. And he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea.
You see that? So Leviathan being that serpent is going to be slayed. All right. That's who we're talking about, right? An actual group of people or a nation of people. That's the same serpent you see in Revelation 12, or that dragon. I also want to get this real quick. Daniel 7 and 19. I'm going to go ahead and bring it out real quick. All right. This is Daniel 7 and 19. It says, then I would know the truth of the fourth beast. So this fourth beast, right, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, break in pieces, and stamp the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. This is why we just read in that Revelation 12 how verse 3, where it says, and there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his neck. Right, this red dragon, this Edomite that you see in Daniel 7, is what you would say the Roman Empire. But we got to understand that the Roman Empire never went away. It just changed hands. And there was a time when those hands changed, and then they just lost it. Right, the Edomite lost its dominion for 1,000 years, and then we're going to read back in Revelation how he's going to get it back and then reign until Christ's reign comes. All right, so this is again Daniel 7:21. I beheld, and the same horn. Now that word, that horn represents a like a kingdom, or like a, what you would say, an initiative, or even like an action, right? So that horn, or that would be might, right? That might, or that force. That's what I'm looking for, that force. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. So the so-called white man made war with the Negro, with the so-called Latino or Native American, and he was prevailing. Verse 22, until the Ancient of Days came. So the white man, right, was able to make war with us, whether it's 1492, whether it's 1619, right? And he was prevailing even 2024 until the Ancient of Days came. Now, who was the Ancient of Days? Anybody know?
The Most High.
Most High.
Is
The
that
Most High.
is that a
Days, right?
question?
Come. So the Ancient of Days is the Most High. So I'm going to read it again. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints. Who are the saints? Right?
Israel.
We know who the saints are, as the Israelites. Right? So Psalm 50 tells you that. Psalm 146 or Psalm 148 says that the Israelites are the saints. So this beast, right, with 10 horns, made war with the saints and prevailed against them. Verse 22 says, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. All right, so just understand that this beast that we're talking about in Revelation 20, right, verse 2, right, we're only on verse 2. We just made very clear that it is the Israel, Salakia, that this dragon is the so-called white man, right? The Roman Empire, which just changes hands from Rome to the Ottomans, over to Britain, to America, right? But it's the same spirit, the same man. All right. So let's read Revelation 20 and 2. One more time, King.
In the book of Revelation, chapter 20 and verse 2. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years.
Bound him 1,000 years. All right, so I got this book right here. Most brothers got this book, right? Babylon to Timbuktu. All right, by a brother named Windsor. Right, Rudolph Windsor, I believe his name is Rudolph R. Windsor. All right, brother out of New Jersey. All right, so this is page 21. All right, page 21. I'm going to read the first paragraph. It says, during the Middle Ages, let me just see. Do I want to start off before that? Yeah, but during the Middle Ages, the black nations of Africa and Asia had the greatest political, economical, and educational and military influence in the world. So during the Middle Ages, it wasn't the white man, right? It wasn't the white man. It was so-called Asiatic black men, right? At this time, Europe existed in a state of darkness for 1,000 years. I'm gonna read that again. Everybody catch that? Europe existed in a state of darkness for 1,000 years. All right. So when we go back and we understand that bottomless pit, yeah, that's the brother right there, Rudolph Windsor, right? Rudolph Windsor. When we understand that bottomless pit being Europe, now we can say for sure that Revelation 20:1, and I saw an angel come down from heaven having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. That bottomless pit is Europe. Right? Now, I want people to understand as well. I want people to understand that during the time of Christ, those Romans were Edomites, right? And then there was a transition where Constantine and some of these European leaders became dark-skinned, melanated men, right? We see a little bit of that with King James being a black man. The Stuarts, the Scottish, all these men were black, right? So-called melanated brothers. So what we're saying is, as a matter of fact, let me just keep reading because he's going to make sense of it right here. Going back to this book, again, Babylon Timbuktu, page 21. In the 17th century and later, Europe began to emerge out of the sloth of ignorance, and certain Germans and others conceived of themselves as belonging to a superior race. Johann F. Blumenbach, a German, was the first to divide humanity on the basis of skin color. So when y'all want to come to us and say y'all talking about black people this and white people that, and we never say black people this, we just say the nation of Israel, right? Understand that you really get your division on races and being racist by a so-called white man named Johann Blumenbach. All right. So what we trying to teach our people is that there was no, people didn't look at you as, oh, you less than me because you black. You less than me because you white. During this time of that so-called Roman Empire, you had certain men that were teaching. I mean, that were so-called black men, right? And they were running things. And then you had white men that were running things. So understanding the time period helps you understand what nation was in control of Rome during that time. I want people to understand that, right? So during the time of Christ, right? Agrippa, Felix, Festus, some of these men that had Paul under persecution, they were white men. And then there was a time when they lost their power, right? 400 AD, then you have black men running Europe, right? Teaching white people how to bathe, teaching white people how to, water or clean their waters, things like that. Everybody get it? Everybody good?
Come.
Come. So that dragon in verse 2 is Esau. We just proved that, right? Going back to Daniel 7. Daniel 7 is definitely going into that Roman Empire. All right. Where we at? Let's get Revelation 20:3.
The book of Revelation, chapter 20 and verse 3. And it reads, and cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him.
Instead of what?
And set a seal upon him.
So this angel, right, not only takes the keys, right, and puts this devil in subjection in Europe, in this bottomless pit, which is Europe, right, and shut him up and set a seal on him, meaning he locked him away. He locked him up, right? Come on.
That he should receive Salakia, that he should deceive the nations no more.
And how did the white man deceive the nations? Caesar Borgias, right? That deceives the nations. What about matter of fact, somebody give me First Maccabees 3:48. Kazak, can you get that? First Maccabees 3:48. When we talk, we use Job 9:24, right? He covered the faces of the judges. This ain't the first time that this has happened. Look, this devil is known for being an imposter. He's known for being an imposter. He's known for making himself. He did the same thing with the Horites, right? Esau made himself the Horites. Esau made himself the Macedonians. Esau made himself the Greeks. Esau made himself the Jews. Esau made himself, right? So forth and so forth. All right, go ahead. Bring it out, King.
No, I was gonna say before you read that, no, it's a powerful point, what you're going into. And I wanted to bring out the scripture just to touch on the history that you was talking about, going into the 400s AD, going to the time where, Esau kind of lost his power over Europe, right? Let me get this Job chapter 30, and I'm gonna start at verse 3. It says, "For want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in former time, desolate and waste, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. They were driven forth from among men." Going into some of that history you was talking about during what they call the Dark Ages, right? It says, "They cried after them as after a thief, to dwell in the cliffs of the valleys and caves of the earth and in the rocks," right? Because during that time when we ruled over Europe, like you said, that place that was desolate, right? That's where Esau was, right? He was pushed forth into the caves. But like you said, he don't want us to know that history. That's why he set himself up as, all the pharaohs of Egypt. He whitewashed them, and now you look at the hieroglyphs, they are white, right? All the ancient history of all the other nations, Esau got to, whitewash all the images to make it look like, they're great people, right? Because if you go into their history goes into the caves, right? They was the original cavemen or Neanderthals, but they don't want people to know that. It says, "Among the bushes they brayed, under the nettles they were gathered together. They were children of fools, yea, children of base men, and they were viler than the earth," right? So like the cat was bringing out, we had to teach them how to be civilized, right? Because they was pushed forth into the cave. That's why when you look at Georgia, Russia, right, going into Mount Seir, right, the Caucasus Mountains, right? When you look at Petra, right, that's the where Esau used to dwell at in the caves, right? But that was all I had on that.
Yeah, that's heavy. That's heavy because I was watching this movie earlier. It's called The New World, right? And it's about how Hollywood romanticizes, and they lied about Pocahontas, the Gadite, and the damn Edomite John Smith, and they had this idea that it was a love story, but that damn devil gave our Gadite sister a bunch of STDs and stuff. Like they had infections and diseases that they came on the boat with over to the Americas, and they brought pestilence, roaches, right? The German cockroaches from Germany, right? It's the damn roach got all the way over here. You got feral hogs. That's not indigenous to the land, but of course the white man brought those feral hogs over to the Americas to help eat the vegetation up. They did all that purposefully they release these hogs, and they say the pig can turn feral faster than any animal, just wild, right? It don't take long for that pig to turn feral. You got feral cats, so that damn Edomite came over with the intent to wipe out the land. They killed all the buffalo in the land, right? All these things. So what the cat was going into was heavy, because not only is this damn devil a deceiver, but he's also what? The adversary, right? The damn devil shot and killed all the buffalo, raped our women, right? I believe Pocahontas died at a real young age, and she had syphilis because of that damn devil, man, right? And he raped her. He raped that young girl. We was talking about that, right? We was just talking about that. She was a young girl, and she was betrothed to another brother, another Gadite brother, and that damn devil came and took her. They were viler than the earth, right? This devil got to go. And like we were saying earlier, that Edomite really don't have a real land, because Mount Petra ain't really his land, right? The Caucasus Mountain ain't his land. When you go and you look at Mount Seir, right? Everywhere that they go is really not their land. And that's how you know that they're going to have to be exterminated, because where they going to go when the Most High put them back, everybody in their land? Where is Edom going to be? Right? Where the Edomites going to be at? Yeah, that's a lie right there they got, what the brother got on the screen. You should have saw that. Yeah, if you got time, watch the New World, man. That damn Edomite and that our Gadite sister, they made it seem like it was a love affair, and it was far from it. All right, where we at? Verse 3.
Book of Revelations, chapter 20 and verse 3.
Uh-huh.
And cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more.
So let's stop right there. Let's get that first Maccabees 3:48, if we still got it. Come on, bring it out.
It's the book of First Maccabees, chapter 3 and verse 48.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, and laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images.
So this ain't that Renaissance era ain't the first time where Esau had the idea of making himself our people. You go on to 2 Kings, right? You see these other nations trying to be Israelites, trying to be in the temple, right? Esau did the same thing. Like we said, King Herod, right? Tried to make himself a Jew. It ain't the first time, man, right? Going to the time of the Maccabees, they was understanding the same thing about the Edomite, right? So that's it on that. All right, let's go right back to that. He should deceive the nations no more. Read on, Officer Shapar.
Hey, Salakia. Hey, you mind if I bring out this book real quick? Just to touch on that scripture he brought out in Maccabees. Hey, Salakia. Hey, Ethan, you can put me on the camera. On the you can make it bigger. The water. Right, going into what he was bringing out in First Maccabees about Esau changing the images. I don't know if y'all can see this book, right? It says Undeniable, right? So this is a book from Dante Fortson, right? So a lot of us familiar with this book, going into the Russian icons, right? Going into the original paintings, of the biblical figures, right? So I just want to show a few pictures real quick. So this first picture is supposed to be the prophet Daniel, right? And this is at the Byzantine Museum in Athens, right, during the 14th century, right? So just to show the people, this is one of the original paintings of the prophet Daniel, right? So what does that look like? You see that? But I guarantee you, if you type in the prophet Daniel on Google Images, it's going to be an image of a so-called white man, right?
Hey, Salakia, Captain. What
Hmm.
page is that? What page is that in that book, Cap?
This page 27, right?
Okay, the water.
So this is the prophet Daniel, right? But like I said, if you type up any images on Google right now to look at any of the prophets or the priests or the kings in the Bible, they not gonna look like this because these was the original images before Esau whitewashed the images during the time of the Renaissance, right? Like the captain was going into, and I'm gonna show one more picture. This going into Revelation, right? What we going into right now. This supposed to be John the Revelator having a vision. So as you can see, John the Revelator was originally painted as a so-called black man, right? And when you look at the thrones, like it go into in the book of Revelation, that's supposed to be the Most High God and His angels, right? What does that look like, right? Even when you go into Revelation, I believe it's the 4th chapter where it talks about him being the color of the Most High was like a jasper and a sardine stone, right? So that's letting you know that the Most High will be a so-called black man because the colors of those stones are brown, right? So all the angels and the Most High God originally was painted as so-called black people, right?
Mm.
But that's all I had on that. I just wanted to get him a visual of what you was going into.
All praises. Ain't the water for that. The water, the water, the water. All praises. See, as y'all can see, brothers got information, right? We just giving our information for free, man. All praise the water for that. All right. So where we at? Let's finish out verse 3, King.
Con, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled,
Uh-huh.
and after that he must be loosened a little season.
Okay, so let's stop right there. Stop right there. So Revelation 21 through Revelation 20 and 3 is one context. Now we're going to have to jump over to verse 7. Okay, we're going to come back to 4, 5, and 6 because that's a whole different context. Like I said, the contexts will change throughout the chapter. All right, so where the officer left off, it says, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And that 1,000 years being fulfilled is him being under what you would say control of the Israelites for 1,000 years. All right, this is again page 45 of Babylon of Timbuktu. All right, it goes into how Islam, right? Islam became a dominant power. So when you go to chapter 40, when you go to Babylon Timbuktu, I'm gonna start at page 44. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Paragraph 8. All right. It says, with the defeat of Jewish and Christian power in Arabia, the stage was now set for the rise of a new power on the world scene. This new power was Arabia. The Arabian Empire, with its new religion, Islam, established the superstructure of its culture on the ruins of the Roman Empire. So this Arabian Empire emerges and it takes the blueprint, right, of what the Roman Empire had in the Middle East, Africa, and parts of Europe. Here's the kicker. It says Europe remained, so the country, right, or the area of Europe remained dormant and inactive for 1,000 years through the Dark Ages. So the Dark Ages, people say it's the Dark Ages because they didn't have light, but it was the Dark Ages because the people that ran that age were dark-skinned people, right? That's what made it the Dark Ages, when you have somewhat of melanated men running or controlling that area of Europe, right? That's why it would be called the Dark Ages. While the Muslim Empire mastered the civilized progressive world, all right, that's it on that. But I just want people to understand that's two sources that qualifies that that Europe, right, that bottomless pit, was under subjection for 1,000 years under so-called black people, right? Israelite men. All right. So let's get Revelation 20 and 7. All right. So now, I want people to understand that this time period right here that we're seeing in verse 7, you're looking at about 1492. Everybody understand that the Renaissance started around the 1500s, but it just didn't start, right? They had to plan it, right? They had to conspire to start this thing. That's the rebirth. So from about 400, right? From about 400 to 1492, you're looking at a thousand years of Europe being ran by so-called black men. Now that 1,000 years is up, now let's see what happens. Shapar, go ahead and get verse 7.
The book of Revelation, chapter 20, verse 7. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loose out of his prison.
So let's stop right there. So, Kazak, can you get that Revelation 11:15 real quick? Let's get Revelation 11:15. So when you read it, right, again, if you read this chapter and you just read it through, let's say you read verse 3, and then you read verse 4, 5, and 6, and then you read verse 7, you're going to think that somehow, some way, that Satan was going to be sealed for 1,000 years. And look, the Christian church won't tell you, but they believe this already happened. I mean, no, Salakia, the Christian church believe this will happen. My bad. When you go into when you ask the pastor, right, most pastors believe that Satan has not been sealed for 1,000 years yet. They're waiting for Christ to get his kingdom, and then Satan to take that kingdom from Christ and then reign 1,000 years, and then Christ is going to take it back. So somehow Christ is going to lose his kingdom to the white man. Does that make sense?
Salakia Cat, that would be the third coming of Christ.
That would be 3 comings of Christ, right?
Right.
Hey, that's for those that enjoy that crack pipe.
Right. So let's get that Revelation 11 and 15.
Cat. Revelation chapter 11, verse 15.
Mm-hmm.
It says, "And the 7th angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Adawan and of his Hamashiach, and he shall reign forever and ever."
So the scriptures say that the Most High and his son Yahawashi, right, is going to reign forever and ever. Not he's going to reign and then the white man's going to take, or Satan, right, the devil, the serpent is going to take it from Christ. No, right? That it don't work like that. He's not going to get a kingdom and then lose it and then try to get it back again. And again, like I said, your Christian pastors, they don't think this happened yet. They think this is going to happen in the future. That's why I said, when you have your mind occupied in prophecy, you'll be able to understand the dark parables and sayings. The Most High is going to give you the clarity. Right? There's no way you're going to read this, so we got to split this thing up. All right. All right. So let's get verse 7 again. Revelation 20 and 7.
The book of Revelation, chapter 20 and verse 7. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison.
All right. So now 1492, 1500s, right? What are we looking at? Caesar Borgia, right? You're looking at some of these, the Renaissance, right? Renaissance means what?
Like renew or rebirth?
Rebirth, right? So the rebirth of the so-called white man, right? As a conqueror. Because remember, the first great white man was Alexander the Greek. Right, so they was riding Alexander the Greek's coattails throughout history. Then you had guys like Titus Vespasian. You had what's the guy, Africanus, Leo Scipio Africanus, and he was at these wars in Carthage fighting North Africans. So they had these tales, right? Marcus Aurelius, some of these guys that you hear about in the history of the annals of time, right? So you think about these guys, and they were riding their coattails. So then they had to have a new great white hype, right? Esau always has a great white hype. Caesar Borgia is one of them, right? They got one today. Who do they have today? Luca, Larry Bird,
Caitlin Clark,
Eminem, You said who?
Kate, what's her name? Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark. Esau has to Captain America. And think about all the superheroes that are white. Right? They
Hey,
have to pump themselves up by having a so-called white hype. Go ahead, King.
Salakia, Cap. Don't forget Caitlyn Jenner.
Caitlyn Jenner, right? Ronda Rousey. That's another one that they would ride her coattails. You see what we're saying? So Caesar Borgias was one of them. And they used his face to deceive the nations on the four corners of the earth. Let's get verse 8.
Revelations chapter 20 and verse 8.
Uh-huh.
And shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth.
And how did he deceive the nations? White Messiah, right? And then they told you that white Messiah was God, so they gave you a Trinity. Like, I believe the Trinity is a racist doctrine, because they didn't put a Trinity and use a black man when they make the Trinity. They didn't use a black God like the Cap was bringing in with those Russian icons. You had a black Yahweh and a black Yahawashi. They wasn't doing that when they had that wasn't the idea when they made the Trinity. The Trinity was, hey, let's make this white man Jesus, and then we're going to make Jesus God in the flesh. So now when they see white people, they think that we're God, right? That's how they operate. That's how they deceive the nations, all right? Go ahead, King, read on.
Gog and Magog.
It says who?
Gog and Magog.
So Gog is a person, right? Gog will be like the president, and Magog is the land. Everybody knows what Magog is. Magog is what you would say modern day Russia. Right? When you understand, when you go to Genesis, I believe Genesis 10, it talks about the sons of Japheth and how the Japhites was in that land of what you would say Magog or Russia today, right? But of course, those people that's in the land right now as Russians are not Japhites. They're also Edomites, right? Putin is an Edomite. All those men up there are Edomites, all right? So those guys up there, so God, I'm not saying Putin is this person Gog, but whoever's going to take that position of the president of Russia, right, or the Russian Federation, would be God. All right. So it says Gog and Magog. Come on, King.
To gather them together to battle.
To what?
To gather them together to battle.
To battle, right? Let me see. Read on, King.
The number of whom is as the sand of the sea.
So now we're going into what Armageddon is about, right? Or the Valley of Decision, or we would say Jehoshaphat. When you break that word down, Jehoshaphat is Yahweh, Yahweh Shaphat, right? The place where Yahweh's judging. Shaphat is judge in the Hebrew, right? Yahweh, of course, is the Most High. So the place where Yahweh is going to judge, Armageddon or Megiddo, however you want to word it, you're looking at the Valley of Decision. All right. Real quick, Shapar. So now you just read Mahar. Actually, officer, can you get Ezekiel 38, King? Let's get Ezekiel 38. All right. I just want to bring this out as well. There's a man by the name of Archibald Sayce. All right, Archibald, and I believe you pronounce his name Sayce, Sayce. Okay. I want to bring this man up because he's a pioneer of linguistics. All right, he's a pioneer of linguistics, and the way he breaks down Ezekiel 38 as far as the name Meshach. All right, Meshach. Let's get Ezekiel 38, and let's get verse 2.
Con. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 38 and verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
It says, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal.
So the chief prince of who?
Of Meshach and Tubal. And prophesy against him.
There's that word again, to prophesy against him. So this guy Archibald Sayce, Sayce, again, he's a linguistics, a pioneer of linguistics. So he knows languages, right? The way he breaks down Meshek goes to Musky or Moscow. The capital of Russia was St. Petersburg, I believe, and then it switches over to Moscow later. All right. I'm gonna say that again. Musky or Mushki, right, would be the word Moscow. So Meshek, right, one could argue is how you would say Moscow. Okay. Archibald Sayce, Sayce. That's the guy who broke that word down, right? Very famous linguistics pioneer. All right, so we're in Ezekiel 38. Let's get verse 10. Get verse 10. Matter of fact, wait, before we get verse 10, let's read Revelation 20 and 9. Shapar, get Revelation 20 and 9, and then let's go right back, Mahar, and let's get Ezekiel 38 and 10. All right.
Con, the book of Revelation, chapter 20 and verse 9.
Mm-hmm.
And they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints about.
So Gog, right, and Magog, right, his men and the people that are in alliance with him, they're encamping around the Israelites, right? The saints. Come on.
Con. And compassed the camp of the saints about, and the beloved city.
And that beloved city is Israel. Okay. So we would be in the land at this point, right? Right? If we're in the land of Israel and Gog and Magog is surrounding the saints, because the saints are the Israelites in the beloved city, then the Israelites are in that city. All right, come on.
And fire came down from the Most High out of heaven and devoured them.
All right, let's get Ezekiel 38 and 10. We're gonna show you that Israel will be in the city, in the land, and that's gonna be our deliverance. Read what you got.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 38 and verse 10. Thus saith Yahweh our power, it shall also come to pass, that at the same time shall things come into thy mind.
So he's talking to Gog and Magog. Okay, he's not talking to Israel, he's talking to Gog. All right, go ahead.
And thou shalt think an evil thought.
Uh-huh.
And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars nor gates.
And those walls, bars, and gates represent or protection. Remember, Israel didn't have their walls, and then the temple got destroyed. All right. The first thing we did with Nehemiah and Ezra was what? Rebuild the walls. And then we rebuilt the temple. All right. So we didn't have a defense, or we won't have a defense as in the eyes of God. Right. So he's coming to take that land and the people that's in it. Read verse 12.
Verse 12, to take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations.
And who was the people gathered out of the nations? We're going to be gathered out of the nations that we're dispersed. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's that James 1 and 1.
Come.
Which have gotten cattle and goods that dwell in the midst of the land.
Come on.
Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish with all the young lions thereof shall say unto thee, art thou come to take a spoil? Hast thou gathered thy company to take a prey? To carry away silver and gold, to take away cattle and goods, to take a great spoil?
See that? So they're asking, are you coming to take away these things that are valuable, right? The gold, right? The spoil. We are these things. We're the silver, the gold of the Most High. We're the apple of the Most High's eye, and we're going to see, right, how the Most High is going to deliver us and give us that salvation. Verse 14.
Verse 14. Therefore, Son of Man, prophesy and say unto Gog, thus saith Yahweh our power, in that day when my people of Israel dwelleth safely, shalt thou not know of it?
Mm-hmm.
And thou shalt come from thy place out of the north parts.
Out of what parts?
Out of the north parts.
Magog is north, right? Russia is north of Israel. So out of the north parts, come on.
Thou and many people with thee.
And that's when you say with the EU, right? The European Union. And then you got some of these other nations, right? You got North Korea, right? Not North Korea, but North Korea, and then you got China, right? India, all of them, right? Go ahead.
Many people with thee, all of them riding upon horses, a great company and a mighty army.
Now remember, we're in the valley of decision, right? We're in the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, the valley of the Most High's judgment. Go ahead.
And thou shalt come up against my people of Israel as a cloud to cover the land. It shall be in the latter days, and I will bring thee against my land, that the heathen may know me, when I shall be sanctified in thee, O Gog, before their eyes.
The Most High is going to be sanctified, right? He's going to be cleansed. He's going to be satisfied. He's going to be able to showcase his power for everybody. Right? It's like that crescendo in the movie at the climax when you think that your favorite character is done for. And right before they pull the trigger, somebody come in and save them. You can't make this up. The Hollywood tries to re-emulate it, right? But this is thus saith the Lord. Right? The Most High said this is gonna happen. These damn directors, man, they getting this from the Most High. All right. Read on to verse 19.
God. It says, thus saith Yahweh our power, art thou he of whom I have spoken in old time by my servants the prophets of Israel, which prophesied in those days many years that I would bring thee against them?
Read.
And it shall come to pass at the same time when Gog shall come against the land of Israel, saith Yahweh, that my fury shall come up in my face.
You see that? The Most High is going to save with that fury. It's almost like a lion, right? When you see that wounded lamb and you like, oh, I got this. Ain't nothing going to stop me from getting this. And then a bigger, battered lamb or somebody come and beat the lion up, right? Like the Most High is going to be that big brother that you think, man, who going to save me? We out here, we ain't got no protection. It's unwalled, or we got women and children, and it's going to be fire on the Most High that's going to burn them up. B'Shem HaMashiach Yahushua. All right, let's get verse 19.
Verse 19. For in my jealousy and in the fire of my wrath have I spoken. Surely in that day there shall be a great shaking in the land of Israel.
And that's going to be a beautiful day, because that's going to be the Most High delivering his saints, right? Nobody really gives, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans the proper respect and the fear that we deserve, right? They fear you on the basketball court, right? They'll fear you out there on that football field. But geopolitically speaking, right? Geopolitics, and man, we don't really got that kind of love, right? But when we get the Most High as our King and our Savior, right, with his son Yahweh, then it's going to be then they're going to worship us and say, oh, these are the men that everybody had in derision. You read about that the chapter prior in Ezekiel 37, when we go into that new covenant, and it's basically everybody's going to know who the true children of Israel truly are. Oh, we was over here gunning down the wrong men. We touched the apple of the Most High's eye the whole time. They're going to be confounded, right? All right, let's go back. Revelation 20. Where we at? Verse it says, and fire came, verse 9 says, and fire came down from God out of heaven and devoured them. We just read that in Ezekiel 38, right? The 18th and 19th verse. All right, Shapar, go ahead and get verse 10.
Con, book of Revelation, chapter 20, verse 10. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone.
You see that? So that devil that we're seeing right here that's going into the lake of fire is Magog. Right? The Russians are the Edomites as well. Right? And that serpent, right? Leviathan, that same devil, right? He's going to be destroyed. He's going to be cast into the lake of fire, which means he's going to have to go to wherever that lake of fire is. Right? America is that lake of fire. Right? Let's get Revelation 18 and 9. Kat, can you get Revelation 18, 9? And Kazak, can you get Revelation 19 and 20? All right. First, let's get Revelation 19, 20.
Con, it's the book of Revelation, chapter 19 and verse 20. It says, and the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet.
So you got the beast, like you got the beast and the false prophet. Who was the beast? Right? Who was the beast? Esau, right? America, right? The nations that are led by Edomites. All right, so you got this beast, and the false prophet is who? The Catholic Church, right? That's the false prophet. The Pope, the Vatican. Yep, that's him right there on the screen. That's your false prophet. Church and state, right? That state will be the beast, and that church will be the so-called white Messiah, white popes. These guys are the same men that okay pedophilia. All right, these are the same people that are spearheading same-sex marriages and relations, all that, right? So that's the beast and the false prophet. Come on.
Con, and the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image.
Right. So you got the mark, the people that took the mark of the beast. Right. You take that chip, right? All those people that's in that mindset of I'm gonna comply, whatever they're gonna comply me with. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. I put the cross, I do this rosary beads and all that, man, you're gonna be destroyed. And for you so-called Negroes, the same thing, right? You doing all this hooping and hollering, you passing out at church, you're shaking in front of the pulpits, your pastor's lying to you, he's giving you a false image of Christ. He's saying a false prophet is somebody that's saying you ain't got to keep the laws anymore, right? The modern day Christianity is the false prophet, right? You take the mark, go ahead, King.
If I could bring out this quick doohickey real quick, this video, you know, that a lot of this stuff is already happening, right? Like, if you see this screen, you know, this is the Whole Foods chain, which is owned by Amazon. And you know, Amazon is piling up all the business from the left side of the world to the right side of the world. They getting from everywhere.
Soon you will be able to pay for groceries at every Whole Foods in the U.S. with just a swipe of your hand. Amazon says that the Pay by Palm technology will be at all of those stores nationwide by the end of the year. Customers just have to hover their hand over the device to pay. This method is already being used at 200 Whole Foods locations across 20 states, and you can also find it in other places, stores like Panera Bread. Hardware editor at TechCrunch, Brian Heater, joins us now. Brian, let's just start off. Tell us how this technology works.
we don't care about what Brian needs to say, but you know, that's just showing an example that the stores are already starting to roll out this technology, right?
Con,
They're not letting people into buildings without having some kind of form of ID.
con. Yep. Yep. It's coming. It's coming. And that's why we occupied in prophecy. Your Christian church, watch, I guarantee you, you're gonna be paying tithes with the mark of the beast.
Wow,
you gonna
wow, con, con.
you gonna swipe your hand in church to pay your
Yeah.
10. And look, I wouldn't be surprised if your pastor had access to your actual savings account, and he gonna be like, that ain't 10%. I need more. I need more. Hey, that's the time we live in. It's wicked times, man. Wicked times, man. This is crazy. You could swipe the palm of your hand and just pay for things. And it's the idea. It's the idea. It's not really of course, it's the cutting of the flesh, but it's also the willingness to comply. They saying get down or you can't even eat. You can't even come inside the grocery store. You can't even go into the mall without showing that. They do the same thing at Sam's Club. You can't come into Sam's Club unless you have a Sam's Club card.
BJ's also, and Costco, and all of them. Hey, but look, you know, all this migrant nonsense that's going on in the entire country, right? There's migrants coming in everywhere. We know it's our people, right?
Right.
But so what they're doing, actually, I saw it in New York, and they actually had a pilot program in California where they're giving them these ATM debit cards, right? And loading it up with money so they can get them used to getting that debit card and having that money. And California was doing something called a universal basic income program, right? So they rolled it out in California, and now they're rolling it out in New York. Pretty soon it's going to be in Florida and Texas and North Carolina and all these different states. And they're getting you used to getting this money every month. They're used to you getting all this money that's given to you by them, right?
Con. Yep. Deshaun Canty says the cost of living and everything is going to go up in price. That's right. Hey, I mean that's inflation, right? That's the inflation. And the sad part about it is we working all this so these people can really make more money and get the hell out of here. Right? Yeah, and it's perfect, right? My rib said first it will be a choice for convenience, and then it will be made mandatory. That's right. It's gonna be made mandatory, and then you in compliance with the damn devil, man, with Satan. All right. So it says, it says these both were cast alive into a lake of fire with brimstone. Let's also get that in that other scripture, Revelation 18:9. When you go to Revelation 18, we know it's talking about Babylon, which is America, right? Babylon is going to be bombed, right? Right? It says, verse 8 says, or should her plot? Yeah, read verse 8, Salakia.
Con, I got it. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord God who judgeth her.
See that? So that's Babylon, right? That's America. Burn with fire. Read verse 9.
Con, it says, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning.
That America's gonna be on fire. You'll be able to see the smoke from across the ocean. You'll be able to, he was able to see that nuclear bomb in Hiroshima from California, going from the Pacific Ocean. You were able to see that. It's gonna be the same thing, but on a grander scale. Right? America's gonna be burning on fire. That's why we try to tell our people to repent, or you're gonna be missile food. 2/3 of our people gonna die in this second death. They're going to be burned with thermonuclear heat. I believe Zechariah goes into that, how it says their eyes are going to melt while they're still standing up. Right? You'll see their eyes melt in their eye sockets while they still stand. All right. Let's get verse 10.
It says, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come.
You see that at 1 hour represents that quickness, right? You know how fast a nuclear missile, Satan 1 and Satan 2 will get there quick. Everybody got nuclear missiles pointed at each other, and no one's afraid. Everyone's afraid to pull the trigger. But somebody's going to have the balls and just say, bump it, push the button. Like our brothers say, push the damn button. All right. Hey, that's real talk, right? That's real talk. And we try to teach our people this. They just want to go on Glenwood and have a good time, right? They just want to just live life and have a good time. This place ain't going to be around much longer. Just turn on your news and you'll see what's going on.
And look, now is a perfect time, right? If you don't know how to do any gardening, if you don't know how to grow your own food, now would be the perfect time to start learning, right? Because in that day, you ain't going to have the time to, oh, well, maybe I should plant these seeds now. Yeah, no.
Right. Yep. Hey, Zephaniah 2:1 says, gather yourselves together, right? So if you got brothers and sisters that you know, right? It's time to put in some stuff and maybe try to have something to wait out a couple days or something and wait for Yahawashi said, look up, for your salvation draweth nigh. Right? You'll be able to say, listen, we're gonna get delivered by the Most High. Right? You're gonna get your delivery. All right. So that's it on that. Let's get Revelation 20. All right, we read verse 10. Did we finish verse 10? Revelation 20.
I think we stopped at fire and brimstone.
Come, finish that out.
Book of Revelations, chapter 20 and verse 10.
Uh-huh.
And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are.
So that damn Russia, right? They're gonna get cast into the fire, which is in North America. They're gonna get thrown in there as well. Come on.
And shall be tormented day and night forever and ever.
And that's that slow burn, right? That's that slow burn. All right, now let's go to Revelation 20. Let's go back and let's get verse 4. So what we just did, if you've been paying attention, we read Revelation 20, verse 1 through 3, and then we picked up verse 7 through 10. That's one context. So if you got a way to mark that in your scriptures so you don't get confused later, understand that Revelation 1 and Revelation 20, 1 through 3, the context picks up verse 7 through 10. Now, chapter 20, verse 4, we're going to go verse 4, 5, and 6. And then we're going to pick up at verse 11. All right? Everybody with me?
Come.
Let's get Revelation 20 and 4.
The book of Revelations, chapter 20 and verse 4.
And Salakia, Kazak, can you get can you get Matthew 19, 28? And Cap, can you get Daniel 7? Or Dawah, you still on here? If Dawah's still on there, well, I want him to get in on this too. If not, Cap, can you get Daniel 7 and 21? All right, let's read it. Let's go.
Book of Revelations, chapter 20 and verse 4. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them.
What was given to them?
And judgment was given unto them.
So now you see multiple thrones, right? You see multiple thrones with multiple judges. Where we get the idea that only God can judge me? All right, I see multiple thrones, and judgment was given to some people that earned the responsibility of judgment, right? Come on.
And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahawashi.
Now, when you go into, who? Let's start with John the Baptist. Got his head cut off for the witness of Yahawashi. What about Stephen? Stoned to death, a martyr for Yahawashi. Paul, right? Peter, James, the disciples, right? All died for Yahawashi. Come on.
And for the word of the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
And which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image.
So the image of the beast is the white Jesus, right? Which is the devil the Bible speaks of, right? Come on.
Neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands.
So they forsook the ways of America as well, the ways of Babylon. So now we're looking at modern day, what you would say martyrs, modern day martyrs. It's going to be brothers, most high willing, right? We able to be a part of that number that's going to refuse the mark of the beast. That's going to refuse the ways of Babylon. That's going to refuse that chip. That's not going to bow to a white Messiah, nor his image, nor his doctrine. Come on.
And they lived and reigned with the Hamashiach 1,000 years.
And then that's going to be that 1,000-year reign that's never going to end. All right, let's get Matthew 19. Let's bring that out. 28.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 19 and verse 28.
Come on.
And Yahawashi said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration.
In the what?
In the regeneration.
In the regeneration, right? That's regeneration is not reincarnation. Okay, regeneration, you come back as an Israelite. You come back as was one of your children, right? I believe the brothers that are waking up now are regenerated from an ancient time, right? The sisters that's waking up now was probably out in the wilderness with Moses, was probably out with Moses scouting the land. You never know, right? Brothers, regeneration ain't a new concept. Brothers knew regeneration back in the times of Yahawashi. Hey, they was asking Yahawashi if he was Elijah, right? They was asking Yahawashi if he was John the Baptist. I believe the end of Malachi says, I will send you who? John the Baptist. Or Salaki, I will send you Elijah, the prophet. And Yahawashi confirmed that John the Baptist was in fact Elijah. So regeneration is the same deal, right? No new thing under the sun. You probably looking at brothers that was, back in them days. Brothers might be Gideon, right? Brothers may be Samson. Brothers may be this person or that person. We don't know, but we know that regeneration ain't nothing that's foreign to our people. Come on.
Con. And Yahawashi said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory,
Mm-hmm.
ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel.
And you see that? So he's telling the people, right, his disciples, that y'all gonna be judging the Israelites. You're gonna be the first judging the ruling class, right? Get verse 29.
Verse 29.
Uh-huh.
And everyone that hath forsaken houses.
So now you got to think about this, right?
Mm.
Not only we're talking about the disciples, but we're talking about people that's going to forsake their houses. And I was just meditating on that. And I was like, what does it mean to forsake your house? Right? I'm going to break it down for you. Read on.
And everyone that hath forsaken houses.
So your houses represent family, right? If you are the house of your father, you would be, house of Judah. House can be a physical structure, but it can also mean family. The family name, right? Your houses, right? Come on. Your brethren.
Or brethren.
Uh-huh.
Or sisters. or father,
Mm-hmm.
or mother, or wife, or children,
Mm-hmm.
or lands, for my name's sake.
Stop right there. Does this mean to leave your family? Is Yahweh
Wow.
you to abandon your wife and kids? Is Yahweh telling you to go flee the land that you live in and find asylum somewhere else? Or is Yahweh telling you to forsake the things that's going to alienate you from him, from the Messiah? He's not, listen, you can leave and go live on Mars, but if you still in sin, you still in sin, right? It don't matter where you at, right? So it really goes into when you forsake these houses, you forsake. I was thinking about they got in the HBCU community, the historically black community, they have children that go to colleges because their parents went there and their grandparents went there. You may cross as a Kappa because your great great grandfather was a Kappa. These going into Greek fraternities and sororities, right? And then your plan is to make your son part of your fraternity. They call it what they call it legacies, right? A lot of times you are a Christian because what? Your great grandfather was a Christian. Hell, you may be a pastor or a reverend of a church that was passed down to you from your father and his father's father's father. You got to forsake all of that. That's what Yahweh Shai is saying. You got to forsake the things that's going to hold you back from the kingdom of God. But he's not saying just up and leave your family just because she's, irritating. Now you got to work with that. You got to deal with that. But if she causing you to sin, right? If she putting shrimp in your food and you're not looking and now you eating shrimp, right? Eve will do that, right? Eve will do that. Then that's when Yahweh Shai saying you got to forsake that. All right? Everybody get what I'm saying? You got to forsake your brothers, sisters, father, mother, or wife, or children, or lands for my name's sake. The sake of the name of Yahweh Shai is to keep the commandments of God. It is to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. So if you going back into Christmas because your wife got that power over you, then you got to leave, bro.
I was just gonna say that if it's like a good example would be like if you get invited to a Christmas party, right, or a birthday party, or Thanksgiving meal, like you should be the one that says no, thank you, politely, and hang up the phone on their face,
Right. You see that, and like the brother was saying, you can do it politely, but at the same time, you got to be firm, especially for the people that's new in this truth, right? Give it some time. Hey, sometimes you got to be polite. You don't want to turn people negative towards your belief system. So sometimes you got to be polite. You got to turn the other cheek, right? You got to be able to take the high road sometime, and then they should get it, right? But at the same time, you got to forsake it by any means. If your wife is having you sin and you can't stop, you know what I'm saying? You find yourself in wickedness, right? You got to find a way out for the sake of Yahweh Shai. Okay, let's finish that out, King. It says what?
God shall receive an hundredfold and shall inherit everlasting life.
You see that? So you're going to inherit everlasting life. Again, we're not saying, you came into this truth 2 weeks ago, right? 2 months ago, and your wife ain't getting it. So now you got to leave. No, that's not how it's supposed to go, right? You got to have patience. You got to be long suffering. Look, you want the Most High to be patient with you. So you got to be patient with your spouse, with your children. But if you find yourself and it's, year 4, year 5, and you still in sin because of your family, you got to make a decision. Either I'm going to be authoritative and I'm going to ordain this in my household, or I got to go because I'm going to be destroyed with the Most High. And I'm not going to forsake the name of the Most High because of y'all. Right? Your mom wants you to come over for Thanksgiving and she make the best pies or whatnot, hey, you gotta forsake that. It may make your mom feel bad, but choose you this day who you will serve, the Most High or your family. So you gotta, it's that, and I always tell brothers, ask the Most High for clarity, right? Ask the Most High to give you that understanding on when to leave, or can I stick this thing out? All right. All right, where we at? Revelation 20 and verse 4. All right. Revelation 24. Cap, you got that Daniel 7:21?
Con, yeah, I got it.
Okay, Khan, let's get that. And then Kazak, can you get Ezra 2 and 41? Go ahead
Con,
and
you
read.
want the Con. This Daniel chapter 7, verse 21. It
Mm-hmm.
says, I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High.
Come on.
And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom.
You did what?
Possessed the kingdom.
Uh-huh. Come on.
Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth,
Uh-huh.
and shall tread it down and break it in pieces.
Praises, right? So we could stop right there. I just wanted to bring that out that the saints were going to possess the kingdom of the Most High. Verse 22 says, until the Ancient of Days came. That's when the Most High came, right? And judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. But in order to get that opportunity to judge, you got to do this, right? Let's get 2nd Ezra 2.
2 and 41.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Con. The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 2 and verse 41.
Come on.
It says, the number of thy children whom thou longest for is fulfilled. Beseech the power of the Lord, that thy people, which have been called from the beginning, may be hallowed.
And what's the number of thy children? The 144.
Mm.
The elect, right? It says the number of thy children whom thou longest for. We've been waiting for 144 to be sealed and elected. Is fulfilled. So when that 144,000 Israelite is sealed, it's a wrap. You're not waiting a second. The Most High ain't waiting an extra second. Once that last brother is sealed, right? It's a wrap. Let's get verse 42.
Con, verse 42. I, Esdras, saw upon the Mount Sion a great people, whom I could not number, and they all praised the Lord with songs.
So everybody understand you got 144,000, right? You got 24 elders, and then you got an innumerable multitude. We'll do that breakdown another day, right? But you have more. It's going to be more than 144. You got an innumerable multitude as well. All right, read on.
Con, verse 43. And in the midst of them there was a young man of a high stature, taller than all the rest, and upon every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted, which I marveled at greatly.
And those crowns represent what? Governorship, rulership, right? Being able to be a prince, right? You have a king, but hey, he got young ones, right? Most High willing, we'll get one of these crowns as well. Come on.
Verse 44. So I asked the angel and said, Sir, what are these? He answered and said unto me, These be they that have put off the mortal clothing.
So you got to take off that carnal sin, that carnal flesh, the mortal clothing, lust, right? You're dealing with lust. You're dealing with whatever, pornography. You're dealing with drug use. You're dealing with transgender, whatever, right? All the sins that he's stealing, right? Coveting. You gotta take that mortal clothing off. Come on.
And put on the immortal, and have confessed the name of the Most High. Now are they crowned and receive palms.
You see that? Now you converted. Read on.
Verse 46. Then said I unto the angel, what young person is it that crowneth them and giveth them palms in their hands?
So who is this man that's giving everybody crowns? He taller than everybody. Who is he? Let's read.
So he answered and said unto me, it is the Son of the Most High.
It is who?
The Son of the Most High.
All praises. That's YAHAWAH'S. Come on.
All praises. Whom they have confessed in the world. Then began I greatly to commend them that stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord.
And you got to stand stiffly. These are the same men that was beheaded, right? I was showing this to the priests how to get that when you were being beheaded in the ancient world, they told you to stand still so it could be a clean cut. Because what you don't want is that guillotine to come and you moving, and then they get stuck in your neck and you still alive and you just in agony. All right, you in pain. The ladies that got their hair, or men with long hair, they would pull their hair up so that blade, sometimes it was dull. And they was dependent on they depended on the weight to make that cut clean, not the sharpness of the blade. So sometimes, look, that blade get cut in someone's hair, or you wiggling around and you trying to fight it, and it's not a clean cut. You got to stand stiffly for that clean cut. These are the same men we talking about, right? They took their punishment, they stood stiffly, and through the Spirit, they was able to come back, regenerate, and become the elect. All right? They stood stiffly. And he's noticed how Ezra said, I commended them. And meaning I gave them respect. I gave them props for that. Hey, man, you did your thing, man. You took it like a G. That's how we say it where I'm from. All right? You took it like
they stood on business.
They stood on business. Look, they was a real nigga. You see what I'm saying? They business. They was real ones. All right? Most High willing, man. That's us. All right? Let's get verse 5. Let's get Revelation 20 and 5.
On the book of Revelation, chapter 20 and verse 5. But the rest of the dead live not again until the 1,000 years were finished.
So now you got the rest of the dead. They slept and they were waiting until these 1,000 years had to play out. All right, come on.
This is the first resurrection.
So that first resurrection, right? Brothers getting beamed up from the dead, going right back into their bodies and becoming alive again. That's that resurrection, right? Most High willing, we'll be able to be alive. But if we do die, we'll be that first resurrection. I think about our beloved captain, man, Obadiah. I believe that brother's going to be in that first resurrection. Most High willing. Right? But you got that first resurrection. All right. Verse 6.
Verse 6. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death have no power. The second death.
What's the first death? Anybody know the first? It says the second death. Well, let's ask this. What's the second death? Anybody know? Want to take a stab at it? All right, let's get the first death, right? Someone get me Genesis 9 and 11. All right, let's get Genesis 9 and 11. The first death.
All
right.
Genesis 9 and 11. Genesis 9 and 11 says, and I will establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all flesh be cut off anymore by the waters.
By the what?
By the waters of a flood.
So the first death is that flood that Noah was destroyed, right? That was in that ark. Understand this, right? That flood was a catastrophe on the earth. Every nation of antiquity has a flood story for a reason, because they experienced it. They had that lesson from their forefathers and foremothers. So that first death is by water. What's the second death?
By fire.
By fire, right? What kind of fire? Fervent heat, fire and brimstone, thermal, nuclear fire. So let's get verse 6 again.
Revelation chapter 20, verse 6.
Mm-hmm.
Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death have no power.
Now you see how it has the colon right there after resurrection? That means it's continuing, but things change, right? It says, on such the second death hath no power. You're not going to have to worry about that second death if you are part of the first resurrection. You're going to be with the Father doing what? Getting ready to judge, getting these crowns of righteousness, right? Exalting Yahawashi, all that, right? Read on.
But they shall be priests of the Most High.
They're going to be what?
And they shall be priests of the Most High.
That's heavy, right? Think about this. They're going to be priests of the Most High. And what else?
And of the Hamashiach.
Uh-huh.
And shall reign with him 1,000 years.
And shall what with them 1,000 years?
And shall reign with him 1,000 years.
Now, when we think about the priesthood of Melchizedek, right? When you break the name Melchizedek up, it's Malak Tazadak, right? Malak is what? King. And Tazadak is righteousness. Melchizedek was a king and what else? A priest. So to be under the priesthood of Melchizedek means that we will also be kings and priests with Yahawashi. That's what it means to truly reign. It's almost like saying I'm the king and the priest at the same time. I'm not saying we Yahawashi, but to reign with Yahawashi under the understanding of being a king and a priest and being able to execute judgment and to give the law at the same time. That's what that means, right? But they shall be priests of God. That's the lawgiver side, right? And of Hamashiach, and shall reign. That's the king side, right? Reigning with him 1,000 years. Everybody get that? Okay, So that's it on that, right? Let's jump down to verse 11. We're gonna finish this thing out real smooth. All right.
Revelation
20 and 11.
Revelation 20 and 11. And I saw a great white throne with him that sat on it.
So who's on the throne? Let's get Revelation 5 and 13. Ultimately, the Most High is going to be on the throne. Right? When it says, again, we got to understand context, right? To rule with Yahawashi and with Hamashiach, it don't mean you get your own throne. You're not going to be on the throne. Only the Most High is going to be on the throne, right? But you'll be able to give that judgment. Remember, Moses in the wilderness, he appointed small officers to judge what? Smaller matters. That's the same structure that the Most High is going to give his son Yahawashi. Yahawashi is going to delegate to the hopeful elect, right, to judge small matters. But let's get that, who's going to be on the throne? Let's get Revelation 5:13. Kazak, you mind getting that for us, King?
Con. It's the book of Revelation, chapter 5 and verse 13.
Uh-huh.
It says, and every creature which is in heaven and on the earth and under the earth, and such as are in the sea, and all that are in them, heard I saying, blessing and honor and glory and power be unto him that sitteth upon the throne and unto the Lamb forever and ever.
So you see how it says, blessing and honor and glory and power be unto him that sitteth upon the throne, comma. Then it says, and unto the Lamb forever and ever. That kills the Trinity right there too. That's a Trinity cut, because you got one person on the throne, and then you have the Lamb. Right? They're different. There's a distinction between the two. So who was him that's on the throne? Like Yahweh, like Yahweh, like Captain Yahshua was going into, right? Revelation 4, it talks about the sardine and jasper stone. That's it, that's the Most High, right? That's a cut.
So,
Go ahead, King.
Salaki. Yeah, I got a precept for that too.
Bring it
This
out.
this Daniel chapter 7 verse 9.
Mm-hmm.
It says, I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and
It
the
said,
ancient of,
I beheld
and
to
the
the
till the thrones were cast down,
uh-huh.
and the ancient of days, and like we was going into earlier, we know the ancient of days is the Most High,
Mm-hmm.
did sit, whose garment was as white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. So it says that his throne, going into the ancient of days, the Most High, the one that sits on the throne.
Right. That's right. That's right. Con. We're gonna go right into that too. All right, let's get that. Where we at? Revelation 20, verse 11, right? So we read that in Revelation 5:13. And then we read that in Revelation 4 and 2 through 3. And then that beautiful precept, Daniel 7 and 9. The Ancient of Days is the one that's on the throne, right? Let's get verse 11. Revelation 20.
Book of Revelation, chapter 20, verse 11. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and heaven fled away. And there was no Slakia, and there was found no place for them.
And that goes into, like, once the Most High is on the throne, right? And that kingdom is established, you ain't got no prime minister somewhere. You don't got no king or emperor, president, none of that, right? Well, that's why it says, and there was found no place for them. No one else is going to have power. Only the Most High. All right. Verse 12.
Verse 12. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before the Most High.
So everybody's going to be standing before the Most High. Your Oprah Winfrey's, right? Your celebrities, your presidents. Everybody's got to stand before the Most High. That's the dead. Most High willing, by this point, the hopeful elect will be resurrected, right? In that first resurrection. So everybody else will constitute as what? The dead, right? So everybody else that's not resurrected, whether you 2/3 or the heathen, right? You're gonna be in that judgment, standing before the Most High, right? Read on.
And the books were open.
And what was open?
And the books were open.
So now you're gonna be on these books, judged out of these books. Read.
And another book was opened.
So the first books that you're seeing would be a account of people's life, what they've been doing in their life, right? You sold drugs, you was a murderer, you was a robber, an adulterer. These books are the acts of your actions, right? Your life. And then another book was open, which is the book of life, right? Let's get Baruch 4 and 1. Let's substantiate what Kazak, can you get that Baruch 4 and 1? Mahar, can you get Deuteronomy 30 and 19? All right. Let's get that Baruch first.
Khan, you said Baruch 4 and 1?
Khan.
Oh, Salakia.
Again, we're going to establish the book of life. What is the book of life? All right.
This is the book of Baruch, chapter 4 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
It says, "This is the book of the commandments of the Most High, and the law that endureth forever, all they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die.
So the book of life is the law. The book of the book of life is the commandments. If you keep the commandments, you're gonna what? You're gonna live. If you break the laws of the Most High, you break the commandments, right? You will die. Very simple. All right, let's get that. Deuteronomy 30 and 19.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30 and verse 19.
Mm-hmm.
It says, I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore, choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live.
You see that? So the book of life, right, is the commandments, the law, obeying those laws, obeying those commandments. You can't be in the book of life and you want to consume pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. You can't be in the book of life and you have a me first spirit, right? You want to be selfish and you want to covet. You want everything everybody got, and you got to steal to take it. You got to kill, right? You got to whatever, right? You can't be an adulterer and be in the book of life. All these things keep you out of the book of life because you're breaking the commandments. It's very simple. But such as leave it is going what? They're going to die, right? You can't be in the book of the commandment, the book of life, and you like the same sex, right? You into that type of stuff, right? So if you're a freak, you gotta repent from the freaky man, that freaky mentality. All right, you're gonna be judged of the book.
Hey, leave it up to a Christian. You can't judge me. I could be a freak all my life.
You see that? But ain't that what they say on the streets? Only God can judge me. Who are you?
Literally.
Yeah,
Literally, that's what they say. Even though there's a book called Judges, that's what they
right. You got a whole book called Judges, right? But through the Spirit, we're able to show you that Most High willing, the same men and you out here and you know, throwing things at people and trying to attack the same men. Guess what? They're gonna judge you when it's all said and done, right? You'd be surprised whose paths you cross later in life, right? That's why you got to treat your neighbors with respect, right? You'd be surprised when the tides turn, the tables turn, and when they say the rabbit got the gun, then what's gonna happen, right? Where we at? It says, read on, King. Well, let's get Revelation 20 and 12.
The book of Revelation, chapter 20 and verse 12. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before the Most High, and the books were open. And another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books according to their works.
So ain't that, well, we just break down. You will be judged whether you kept the laws of God. Like, ain't that what we got? That's what I got out of here. When I read this, no, a Christian can't tell me I ain't got to keep the laws anymore. Because it sounds like I'm going to be judged whether I kept the laws or not.
But Jesus paid it all.
Yeah, he did. He did. Yeah. That don't mean, you know what I'm saying? You know, let's get Daniel 7 and 8. Let's get Daniel chapter 7, verse 8. And I want people to think about this and meditate on this. Not Daniel 7 and 8, Salakia. Get Daniel 7 and 9, but let's get Psalm 7 and 8. Psalm 7 and my bad. I want people to think about this psalm right here that David, I think this is David. Yeah. This is Shigagion. All right, that's who wrote it. But he wrote it on behalf of King David. Go ahead and get that Psalm 7 and 8.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 7 and verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
It says, Yahweh shall judge the people.
Come on.
Judge me, O Yahweh, according to my righteousness,
According to what?
according to my righteousness.
But I'm a nice person. I helped the old lady across the street. I used to carry the man's groceries upstairs. I ran for president.
La,
I got out the tree.
la'ah,
Say,
according to my righteousness.
and what's righteousness? The laws, statutes, and commandments, right? It
Verses
don't you building wells all through the giving poor people. No.
Right.
Go ahead. What you got?
Now I'll just go bring out a precept just to prove that righteousness is keeping the commandments, like you was just going into. This Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 25. It says, "And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before the Lord our God, as he hath commanded us."
Con, yeah, and everybody see that, right? So when you keep the commandments, that's what it means to be righteous. You can help people out and do all these good things. They say a lot of times people that are charities and they're philanthropists, they do a lot of wickedness too behind closed doors, right? Kind of trying to overcompensate. I'm not saying every philanthropist is like that, but people that give, they're trying to overcompensate for some kind of evil behind closed doors. So it don't matter. And I'm starting to realize when it comes to this walk, this faith, yeah, it's about the things you do, but it's about the things you don't do as well. So like if I'm going to camp every Saturday and I'm out there every Friday and I'm at all the Passovers, I got my fringes, I got the biggest beard with the longest tassels. But let's say, hey, I'm into some wicked stuff, that I'm still wicked. I'm not righteous, right? I'm doing everything right, but I'm doing a lot of things wrong too. So think about that too. Yeah, you out here and you at every feast day and every new moon, and that's cool. But you got to cut some of the things out that's also plaguing you, right? That's holding you back. All right? Think about that. So it says, "Judge me according to my righteousness." Finish that out, King.
Khan, and according to mine integrity that is in me.
That's beautiful, right? Because when you go into that word integrity, I was in Esau's army, man, and one of the army values was integrity. And they broke down the word integrity is the things you do when no one's watching. That's integrity, right? What you doing when no one's there, when you know you can get away with it, and do you have the integrity to still do the right thing, or are you going to try to cut a corner here and there, right? The Most High sees all that. So David is saying, judge me to what me keeping the commandments and what I'm doing behind closed doors when no one's watching. And now, how many of us would ask the Most High to really judge us according to our integrity, right? To judge us according to the things that we're doing and the things that we abstain from. Most High sees all that, right? Let's get that. Let's go back to Revelation 20 and 12. We're going to close it out real soon, right? We almost done. All right, so those books of life, they're going to be open and we're going to judge, well, not we, but they're going to be judged. Most High willing, right? You got to talk this into existence. They're going to be judged out of that, out of the books of life, which is the commandments, right? Officer Shapar, let's go ahead and get Revelation 20 and 13.
Con, the book of Revelation, chapter 20, verse 13.
Mm-hmm.
And the sea gave up the dead which were in it.
The dead?
The sea gave up the dead.
Right? What does the sea represent? Right? What does the sea represent? Mahar, can you get Revelation 17 and 15? Let's get Revelation. What does that sea represent? It said the sea gave up the dead which were in it. Right? And Kazak, can you get Isaiah 26 and 19? The sea gave up the dead. Right? Read it again, Shapar.
Con. Revelation chapter 20, verse 13. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it.
Come on.
And death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them.
And then death and hell, right? So let's get that real quick. Revelation 17 and
You said 17, 12?
17, 15, Salakia, Revelation.
And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples,
Or peoples,
and multitudes, and nations, and tongues.
So these waters, when you go into the scriptures, right, given the context, you got to have that spiritual eye. You got to understand when those waters represent actual water or when it represents people, nations, tongues, right? So it said the sea or the waters, right, gave up the dead, meaning that the dead were coming out of the multitudes of people, right? It's almost like you ever wait in line at a DMV and they call your number and you waiting with a bunch of people. And when your number is called, you got to go up and go face that judgment. So the sea gave up the dead. You sitting in there waiting. You next to you next to Jeffrey Dahmer, and you next to this pedophile. You like, dang, I'm over here I'm on the wrong side, right? You supposed to be on the side where you judging, but instead you decide where you getting judged. And you know what's crazy is the scripture says that God's children are judged, right? Let's get that. I don't want to butcher it. Let me get Hebrews 12. I'm gonna read this real quick. Hebrews 12, it says, verse 6, for whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. If you endure chastening, God dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? But if ye be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then are ye bastards and not sons. So let me just finish it out. I'm gonna break it down. Furthermore, we have had our fathers of our flesh, with which corrected us, right? So you had your father that corrected you of your flesh, and we gave them reverence. We loved them for that, right? Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirits and live? So what the author of Hebrews is saying right here is that the Father judges his sons automatically. You don't. The ones who going to reign with Christ, when you mess up, you get that judgment right away. That's your judgment on earth, right? When you mess up, you break a Sabbath, or you skip a high holy day, or you do something off, and you get that judgment right away. And the Most High tell you in your spirit, this is why you're getting this judgment, right? You're getting that judgment early, so you ain't got to get that judgment later on that second death. Everybody get that? Right? I'm gonna say it again if you didn't get it, right? So when you get judged automatically, you get that quick, swift judgment. That's the judgment that you get. You're not going to get judged and then die and then get judged again if you're doing it right, correctly. But if you're going off, then you may get that double judgment. But what we're saying is, if you're doing everything right and you mess up, you find yourself getting that quick, swift judgment, just note that you're doing something right. You just got to clean it up and get back and keep enduring in this faith. So when y'all get judged quickly, take it as a good thing. That's why Hebrews, right? He says, if you ain't without chastisement, which is judgment, if the Most High ain't judging you right away, or if you don't get that judgment, you may be a bastard. You may not be for him. You might not be his. You getting away with it. You getting away with it. You keep getting away. You keep getting away. Hey, you might not be that son, that daughter. So when you get that judgment, count it all joy. Hey, the Most High is still working with me. I get that judgment. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do what's right, and I'm motivated to keep this work, keep doing this work. All right. So again, so the sea gave up the dead which were in it. Anybody holding something? I got somebody holding something.
Isaiah 26 and 19.
That was it. Yep. Let's go ahead and get that Isaiah 26 and 19.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 26, verse 19. It says, "Thy dead men shall live.
Mm-hmm.
Together with my dead body shall they arise."
So the dead men, right? They're going to arise in that second death. They've been waiting. We was talking about that in verse 5. How the rest of the dead live not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. The second resurrection, these dead men that didn't get raised up, they're gonna finally get to be risen up. It says, read on, King.
Khan, awake and sing, ye that dwell in dust.
Mm-hmm.
For thy dew is as the dew of herbs, and the earth shall cast out the dead.
And that's beautiful because that dead represents a sin, right? And we're going to read right here as we finish this this chapter out how there is going to be no more death and no more hell. Hell, death is death, right? But hell represents the curses, right? I always say when I go to work every day and I'm dropping my kids off, just go down New Bern Avenue, go down Raleigh Boulevard, and you're going to see hell. Go to certain parts of America where our people are living in, you're going to see what? You're going to see hell. The curses of Deuteronomy. All right? So it says, beautiful precept on that, Isaiah 26 and 19. All right, let's get verse 14 and 15. Let's finish this out. Let's get Revelation 20 and 14.
Con, the book of Revelation, chapter 20, verse 14. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death.
So that second death we were saying is a lake of fire, that thermonuclear heat, right? That's going to destroy the planet, right? And you're going to have people preserved. That's the whole idea of the book of life, right? How do we preserve the people that's going to either build this nation or build our nation, our kingdom back up? They're going to have to be preserved for something, right? So they're going to have to escape as well. Okay? People got to understand that, right? You're not going to have your own Israelite brothers fulfill Isaiah 14, right? Where they're going to have to be princes and feed our animals and, you know, crop share, all that, right? Some of these nations are going to be, I'm going to use the word preserved or spared. I'm not going to say saved, right? I'm going to say preserved or spared. All right, let's get verse 15. I'm going to show you.
Con, Revelation chapter 20, verse 15.
Uh-huh.
And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire.
So everybody, the heathen ain't, not all heathen are going to be in the lake of fire. All the heathen can't, because who's gonna live to carry out some of these prophecies that's going to go into our kingdom being built? Somebody's going to have to be spared or preserved, right? So what I have right here is a quick little link or a quick note. It says the book of life is those that are spared, right? So the other nations that's going to be spared or preserved to follow Israel, right? Because every knee will bow, right? And every tongue will confess. All right, let's get Revelation 24. What I want 21, 20. I want Revelation 21, 24. All right, let's get Revelation 21, 24. And then we'll be done. I got Revelation 21, 24. And then Mahar, let's get Jeremiah 12 and 14.
It's the book of Revelation, chapter 21, verse 24.
Now again, we're not teaching all ethnicities are going to be together, right? We definitely teach an ethnic hierarchy. But if you know anything about the prophecies, the Israelites going to have slaves in the kingdom, right? What I mean by slaves is servants, handmaids, right? To plow the field, plow the vineyards, right? To help build the desolate places. That's the gospel, right? So where they going to be at when all this destruction is going around, right? Where they going to be at when they got to stand before the judge, right? Let's read that. Let's get verse 24.
Revelation 21, verse 24. and the nations of them which are saved.
Now that
Shall,
word, Salaki, that word save means preserve. So if you got a preserve of jelly or jam, right, you seal it, you close it tight, and then when it's time to use it, you open it and you use it what it's for, right? That's the word preserve, right? Let's see what we got. You see that second definition? So yeah, so there is going to be a preservation for the nations. All right, read.
come, shall walk in the light of it.
You see that, and you're not going to be, in Yahweh's kingdom, and you're going to be a damn Hindu or a Muslim or a damn, you know what I'm saying? That's just not going to happen. You're going to have to walk in the light. You got to keep the commandments of the Most High, right? That's why in Zechariah it said from year to year they're going to have to come to the Feast of Tabernacles and bring their sacrifices. And
Hey, so
it won't be rain in due season, right? Go ahead, King.
no, Salakia. I ain't gotta bring out the precept, but I was finna say that Isaiah chapter 2, going to that too, will talk about all the nations will go come into the mountain of the Lord, and the Israelites go have to teach the other nations how to, keep the commandments.
Come. That's right. That's right. I think sometimes, you come in this truth, you think it's just going to be all Israel. And then you realize, wait, somebody got to do all this work. And so, I mean, somebody got to be preserved to do it. Right? Come on, let's finish that out.
Come, and the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it.
So this is what I'm going to start telling other nations now, right? Like, hey, listen, if you want to be preserved, then you're going to have to, show you want to be preserved. If not, you're going to, Ephraim got the precept on how to teach these other nations what they gonna have to do to live, to be a slave. Like I got news for you, the other nations. You're gonna desire to be these brothers' servants and handmaids. That's gonna be your best bet, or you're gonna die. Your best bet is to, hey, put me in chains. I'm gonna go with you. Wherever you go, I'm gonna go with you and hope to God that you get spared that death. All right, come on.
Come, verse 25. And the gates of it shall not be shut at all by day, for there shall be no night there.
And that goes into being able to rule, right? The gates are going to always be open. I was saying earlier last week, I was looking at this, and it was the quote unquote an open door policy. You go into a job and your manager say, I got an open door policy. And it don't mean his door is always open. It's figuratively saying you can come in and get advice or counsel from me. The other nations, they're going to have to come and bring their sacrifices. They're going to come to the ruling class, and they're going to have to ask to, be seen. Can I be seen by, King Shapar, Governor Shapar, Governor Mahar, Governor Yashuan, right? Okay, wait, you gotta wait, come back. I'm his assistant. Wait, come back next week. He on a trip. He'll be back. And then you can bring your worries to him. And if he's busy, he'll see you. I mean, if he's not busy, he'll see you. That's how it's gonna be. All right, come on.
Come. Verse, do we read all of 25?
Yep.
Come, verse 26. And they shall bring the glory and honor of the nations into it. Verse 27. And there shall in no wise enter into it anything that defileth, neither whatsoever worketh abomination.
So you're not going into the kingdom as a Chinese transgender, right? You're not going into the kingdom preserved. Like if you going in there and you on that gay stuff, we killing you. We find out, they over there pushing that Hinduism, that Krishna and Vash, all that. Hey, look, who was that? Okay, point him out. Okay, cool. We're gonna kill him right in front of everybody. Because Our law says you can't have no other gods. And if someone is going out there and they teaching you to worship other gods, we're going to kill them. As a matter of fact, if you're in witchcraft and sorcery, we got to burn you and your whole family. Thus saith the laws of the Most High. That's what it means to be a light to the Gentiles, right? We're going to teach them, no, you can't go into that, what you grew up learning, no more, right? You're going to grow your beard. You're going to, do that. That's what it means. If not, it's going to be a swift consequence. So there's going to be none that enter that defileth. It's going to be none of that. What defiles the city of the Most High, the temple of God, is, or even the kingdom of the Most High, is these other nations holding on to their old customs. All right. Finish that out.
Con. Neither whatsoever worketh abomination.
So you can't eat shrimp. You can't eat crab and lobster. None of that. Come on.
Or maketh a lie.
Uh-huh.
But they which are written in the Lamb's book of life.
Those that are written in the Lamb's book of life. Let's get this last one. I want to show that preservation. Jeremiah 12:14. I want to show how the other nations, right, is going to have to be preserved. And again, the scriptures say in Proverbs 29, when the righteous and authority, the people rejoice. So when we talk about slavery, hey, you better off under the tutelage of the Israelite, right? The civilized Israelite, the children of God, the elect, to be able to show you how to live and serve the Most High. All right, let's get that. Jeremiah 12:14.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 12 and verse 14. It says, "Thus saith Yahweh against all mine evil neighbors that touch the inheritance which I have caused my people Israel to inherit. Behold, I will pluck them out of their land and pluck out the houses of Judah from among them."
And Yahawashi said the same thing in Matthew 25. He's going to separate by nation. We went into that on the street this last Saturday, right? Separation by nation, right? The Most High is showing you in Jeremiah. Yahawashi says the same thing, right? Verse 15.
"And it shall come to pass, after that I have plucked them out, I will return and have compassion on them, and will bring them again, every man to his heritage,
And what's the heritage, right? What's the heritage? Is the land. Every man's going to go back to their own land. Everybody's going to go back to where the Moabites were at, where the Philistines were at, the Canaanites, so forth and so forth, right? Everyone's going to go back to his heritage, which is his land. All right, verse 16.
Verse 16, "And it shall come to pass, if they will diligently learn the ways of my people."
So if the other nations learn the ways diligently of the Israelite, come on.
"To swear by my name,
Uh-huh.
Yahweh liveth, as they taught my people to swear by Baal."
Now let's stop right there. Baal means the other nation's Lord, right? Another nation's God, another nation's deity, right? How did we learn to serve Baal? By beating it down, torture, right? Persecution. They forced you to do this. They forced you to do that. And then over time, a lot of our people willfully serve the other nation's deities. All right? So the same way, right? The Most High said the same way you taught them to serve your gods, the Most High is going to have his children afflict that damage, pain, and torture on you to serve the Most High. And it might not even be that hard because, again, right? We got the true God. They had a God of wood and stone that was made by men. All right. So it's not going to be that hard to convince them. They're going to see this. They're going to see deliverance of the Israelites in front of the whole world. They're going to have to get down and say willfully yes. But there's going to be that one heathen, maybe 10 or 50 heathens that's going to try to revolt and make a move. And we're going to have to beat them down, man. We're going to have to beat them down. All right. Let's finish that out.
Somebody getting a chain wrapped around their neck.
And you got to make an example, That's why the laws are here. And when you look at the laws of the Most High, when you really study the laws, the 613 laws, it tell you how to treat your slaves.
Mm-hmm.
So you know that the laws were set up for us to have the kingdom. You know?
Mm-hmm. One says you could beat them to the edge of their life, but don't kill them though.
You can't. And you can give your heathen roadkill. You got a slave and something die of its own, like a dead, a dead cow or something. You can feed that to the heathen, but you can't feed that to another Israelite. Right? That's just a small example. All right. It says, read that out and let's finish verse 17. That'll be it.
Khan. Then shall they be built in the midst of my people.
So they're going to be in the midst of his people. Listen, even at this point, the other nations aren't even called his people, right? The Most High's people is still Israel. Even when they decide to serve the Most High, they still not the Most High's people. He still has a chosen few after they agreed to worship the Most High and serve Yahweh. But they're going to be built in the midst, meaning we're going to have to coach these guys up and build these guys up. Build these other nations up. No, lady, you can't wear that because the Most High want a modest woman. You causing these other men to sin by lust. Put some clothes on and you're going to be shut up for about a week in the house. And you can't come out until another week. And if I see you out, that's another week. Right? Because you want to parade your butt, your TNA all through this village. And now you the cause of a lot of men going off. Right? The same way the Most High is going to be judging us, we're going to judge them. I heard a report. I'm coming here to establish the law. That's my job as governor. That's what it means to judge righteous judgment, which we just read in Revelation 20. All right, let's finish verse 17.
Khan. It says, but if they will not obey,
and that's going to happen. A lot of these brothers don't understand that these other nations are wicked for a reason. That's going to happen. They will not obey. Come on.
I will utterly pluck up and destroy that nation, saith Yahweh.
Saith the Most High, right? And how's he going to do it? By his battle axe and weapons of war, which is us. Most High willing. I'm not making myself that number, but sometimes you got to speak that thing and just do what's necessary. But everybody understand Revelation 20? Any questions, concerns, comments? Anybody want to add anything before we shut it down? Anybody that's watching? Any questions on what was presented today? Hopefully brothers and sisters was able to watch and was edified on that chapter. Like the captain Yashu said earlier, if he was looking at the comments, a lot of good information in this chapter, man. A lot of good information. And again, hopefully you was able to mark out in your Bible where one context ends and where another begins. Through the spirit, man, through the spirit of Yahweh. But that's all I got. Again, before we shut it down, I'm gonna let brothers add in and chime in, open it up for Q&A if possible. If not, that'd be it. We almost did 3 hours, man. All praises to the Most High. All right, but remember, the spirit of prophecy is the spirit of Yahweh, man. So brush up on that prophecy if possible.
A mighty lesson. The only thing I was going to bring up was just how do we feel about immortality in the kingdom?
Khan, hey.
I got a precept for you.
Khan, hey, bring it out, or maybe we can have it be next week. But hey, I'm with it.
Is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2 and verse 23. It said, for Yahweh created man to be immortal and made him to be an image of his own eternity. But nevertheless, through envy of the devil, came death into the world, and they that do hold of his side do find it. So, when the Most High establishes his kingdom again, there's a lot of belief that there's going to be some immortal brothers up in there.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably say just them brothers will be immortal because, we understand that there will be procreation in the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? So brothers will be making children. And if you think about it, if the children are immortal and the children then, ain't nowhere for people to live. But I would say that's something to look into. But if the elect are indeed immortal, and they'll just be ruling governors in Yahweh's kingdom. Hey, I don't, that's something to look into for sure. I'm just looking at this last part here. I'm thinking about sin as well, right? Through the envy of the devil came death, and that devil, that deceiver, will be that serpent. Whether you believe the serpent is the Canaanite or the Edomite, like the spirit of Canaan or the spirit of Esau, that's quote unquote that enemy in the garden that deceived Adam and Eve, made them sin, right? Because God said, don't eat from that tree of good and evil. And they disobeyed God. That's a sin by definition. And then the wages of sin is death. So I could see it a couple ways. I could see it as, through death. I mean, through sin, right? Death came in, and I do believe Adam and Eve was meant to possibly, live forever. But then it depends, man. We would have to really go through that and really chew some meat and see what we come up with. Because like I said, I could see it two different ways. But yeah, I'm gonna let other brothers get in on that if possible.
Hey, Salakia, that's kind of deep because I've been meditating on that the last couple of days. And like you say, when you go into Genesis 2, I think it's around 17, it says that if you eat off the tree, surely you will die, almost insinuating that they will live forever. And that if you once you start getting into Genesis, like when you get into Methuselah, our ancestors, like the children of God, they were living for 900 years and 800 years until you get down to Genesis, the 6th chapter, where the Lord put a cap on our years for 120 years. So yeah, that's a mighty topic right there.
Come.
I think we need to have the elders come on here and give us a special class.
Come. All praises. All praises. Good. Real good lesson. Real good. Hey, I want to thank y'all brothers for hopping on today, man. Putting your 3 hours in. Hey, the water to y'all brothers. Definitely appreciate it. Love y'all brothers for that. Hey, hopefully this was edifying. We getting ready to sign off. I don't even know what time it is, but I know it's late. People got to get up and work in the morning. So, with that, I definitely want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh in the name of his only begotten son of Mashiach, Yahawashi. This is Yahawah's camp. And with that, we getting ready to sign off. Shalom.
Hey, Shalom, Israel. Shalom. Hey, next week, I'll be coming up next on Up to Bat. And I'm going to be bringing out the second week or the second part of that Exposing the Elite series.
Hey,
So tune in for that. But hey, tomorrow we're gonna be in Raleigh. If any of y'all in the area, what you
yeah,
got, Cap?
I think next week y'all shoot week, but I mean, however y'all want to play it. But hey, shalom, Israel. All praise to the Most High. The Cap brought out a mighty lesson. Hey, shalom.
Hey, if it's shoes week, that's cool too. We out.